The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual guests.
What is going on, my Ghost Mafia? Welcome to the Armed Citizen podcast. Good Lord, it's gonna be a long night. I am sober and I'm a little cold, but
it's been like a month since that podcast, dude. Like a month.
God, I know. Right? I don't know. We gotta do one Sunday, so maybe I was thinking about that. I have no idea. Welcome to the Armed Citizen Podcast Live. We are streaming live as always over on YouTube and simulcasting over on X, or the artist formerly known as Twitter. If you're out there in the live chat, go ahead and say something. We don't know that you're out there unless you do. If you want to text into the show, yes, you can text into the show. Utilize the Ghost Tactical Hotline presented by our good friends over at Wilder Tactical. That number is 530-364-4678. And as always, go check out our good friends over at wildertactical.com. If you're a gear junkie like I am, they've got a little bit of everything over there for you. They're great stuff, great people, and obviously great friends of the channel, but more importantly, good friends of mine personally. Let them know that Ghost sent you over at wildertactical.com. If you're a veteran, really anybody, but especially if you're a veteran and you're in that hole, you're in the darkness, and you're looking for some light, call me, text me, email me 24/7. I cannot give you medical advice, but I might be able to walk you through some stuff, talk you through some stuff. More importantly, I could just listen if that's what you need. If you are looking to get towards some medical attention, remember two things. One, you are not alone in this fight. You have a lot of brothers out here that are willing and able to help you in any way possible. And two, the world is a much better place with you in it. So please utilize the Veteran Crisis Hotline. 1-800-273-8255. Once again, 1-800-273-8255, or text the word TALK to 741-741. We are spotlighting, as always, the United States Marine Corps. If you have any questions on what it takes to earn the title of United States Marine, see the website marines.com. And as always, we are proud members of the Firearms Radio Network and the Self-Defense Radio Network. Check out all your favorite pro-gun, pro-toy podcasts over at firearmsradio.net and selfdefenseradio.net. Let's get this off of my ugly mug and say hello to the merry band of morons this week. Standing on a corner in Winslow, Arizona, such a fine sight to see. It's a ginger, my lord, and a flatbed Ford. From the Gun Owners of America and Fully Loaded Reviews, we have John, the Ginger Soulless Bastard. What's up, Holmes?
What's up, brother?
What's up, brother? It's Tuesday. Tuesday. Yeah. It's been a while because we did the last couple of them on Monday with all the holidays and all that shit. So, yeah, it is. It's actually Tuesday again. So we're back to normal bat time, you know?
No, everything's good.
Our friend Stan with SS Spawn, or formerly with SS Spawns out there. What's up, Holmes? Snob's out there, Gary's out there, Fud's out there, Scott's out there, Wes is out there. Oh, we're just gonna run through real hillbilly ups out there. Fully Loaded Reviews out there. I'm sure I'm missing Jacobs out there. What's up, yo? What's going on at GOA? Are y'all still like out of like the office? Are you back working? Like, are you actually earning a paycheck at this point?
I'm actually earning a paycheck. The entirety of GOA DC is at the Hill right now. They are really pushing for national reciprocity. So I talked to Eric and John Vallejo and Aiden and Ben Sanderson, all from our Fed team, and they are all on the Hill pushing for national reciprocity, meeting with senators and congressmen to get that over the hump and signed into action. Hopefully by
who's
truck,
actually who's sponsoring it? Like who's actually presenting it? Have they got it sponsored yet?
I want to say it's. I could be wrong. I want to say it's a guy from Kentucky.
Okay.
I want to say that's who's doing it, but I could be wrong. I know that there's a couple sponsors on the bill, and there's one in the House and one in the Senate, so they're working really hard to make sure that actually gets passed and brought to soon to be President Trump's desk.
Well, I hope it does. We had a nice little conversation about that a month or so ago. So, yeah. Rich says, has the bill been introduced? It probably hasn't because they just got sworn in last week. So I suspect that it hasn't been introduced yet. Scott says
there we go. Scott
guy from Kentucky and John Cornyn of Texas is sponsoring there you go, the one in the Senate. So there you go.
That sucks ass.
Why was he not very good or?
No, he's a fucking bad rhino. Holy shit!
Now really?
Now I'm worried about the Senate version. Oh, because that fucker will poison peel shit and do all kind of crazy stuff, man.
That explains why our team's on the Hill.
Well, hopefully that one won't get out of committee then. How about that? Without being doctored heavily.
Yeah.
Artex out there. Yeah. What's up, Pat?
Well, then we are in full SHOT Show mode. We had our first SHOT Show meeting today, and getting that all spun up, ready to go. And hopefully we've got something good.
Yeah, I think Monday, range day will be inauguration day. It'll be interesting to hopefully not have anything crazy happen on inauguration day. But Yoko and I were talking, I don't know, it was yesterday or maybe today. I don't know. We took a little road trip today and get out of the house a little bit. She was like, man, this is going to be like super tight security this year. I was like, this could be with everything that's happened over the last few months, right? With Trump, like this very well could be like the most secured inauguration maybe ever. Cause I'm sure there's going to be some crazy shit that tries to get happen. So
I think we're going to have some crazy tight security in Vegas this year.
With Junior being there or what? Or just in
probably
general?
With Junior being there in general. There's rumors somebody else might be there who's in the Trump cabinet. I can't say who.
Are you talking about Tulsi? Because she's been there the last couple of years, so I'm sure she'll be there.
Not Tulsi, somebody else. I'll tell you off air because I don't want to.
Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, it's
you go spitting out rumors now.
Yeah, it's not a rumor; it's fact. I know who's going to be there. I will tell you.
Look at you all. Yeah. I don't think it's Elon, Gary. I don't see Elon. I don't think SHOT Show is Elon's gig. You know, can you imagine the awkwardness of Elon walking through SHOT Show?
I wonder if Elon. I gotta wonder if Elon goes to CES though.
I bet you he probably does. I don't know. Yeah, so he's probably there. He might be in a different capacity, but. Like, I don't see Elon at any convention just like walking around. Like, I would just, not because I think he's better. I think that he's just so, like, I don't know, socially awkward. I don't think he wants to be around 100,000 people. You know what I'm saying? That would be hilarious to see him do it.
Well, dude's pretty busy. You gotta have
a little bit. He's got a couple things going on in his life right now. Sure. Yeah.
I'll give you this much. This person was at Goals and had a very, very good speech.
Oh, okay. Then I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I know you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah,
you can take a guess. But yeah, no, super excited. Also, that Monday night, it's also the college football national championship. So Vegas is going to be a little crazy.
It's actually that Monday afternoon where we're going to be. It's going to be like at 4:30 in the afternoon where we are. So it's going to be weird to be like 4:30 watching a game, you know. So, but yeah, it's all good. Looking forward to getting to Vegas. Anything going on at the FLR channel? You guys have had a pretty interesting couple weeks.
Yeah, so we launched our unboxing video last week of the GX2, and that hit almost 20,000 views, which is really insane for our channel. And then we launched the full video, which has hit 16,000 views and has been a great hit for us. So we've got a comparison video coming, and we've also launched the GX4 carry video, so we can get that comparison video out. That was already in the work. So we went from December 24th is when we hit 1,000 subs. I was super excited about that. Now we're up to 1,500.
Nice.
In that short time. So we're super excited about FLR taking off. Got our first YouTube check. So pretty pumped.
I'm sure it was an amazing check, wasn't it? It was life-changing money, I bet.
Oh, yeah. You know.
Almost paid for dinner. Almost paid for dinner at Taco Bell.
Yeah, no, not even close.
I said almost.
Yeah, tens of cents for your first check, I'm sure. Well, actually, no, because your first check, you had to get over 100 to get that threshold, right?
So we just
at least get 100. Okay.
Yeah, we just
the first check's always a pretty decent one. For your first check, it's going to be at least $100.
So we're super excited. The channel's growing very rapidly. I've got the comparison video between the GX4, the GX2, and the GX4 carry coming out, and then we also have a launch product that's coming out next week that coincides with SHOT Show. So really excited for everything and ready to go.
Yeah, Jacob out there says, "Ghost, I looked in the community tab and didn't see a poll this week." No, I've been busy, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I've been busy, but I also forgot to put them out last week. I usually go like a couple weeks in advance and schedule them, but I think I did like Christmas and New Year's ones, and then just for some reason forgot that I hadn't done this week's, and so no poll. We'll get back to the polls this week, but yeah, it's been kind of
you're supposed to throw the poll out after Festivus and get a new one next year. So
that's right.
It makes sense.
It does. You know, I'm not very smart, so I have like the holy trinity of things. I'm not very smart. I'm pretty lazy, and what's the third one? Oh yeah, I forget things. So yeah. What's that? Yeah. Okay. I hear things. I hear voices. So you have to forgive me. You're lucky that I forget and remember how to set up a stream on a weekly basis. So, but yeah. All right. That sexy East Texas slang voice that you're hearing a second ago from the great state of Texas, the gatekeeper, everything Texas pride and everything else. That is the tactical virus. I mean, Leprechaun himself. What's up, Clove?
Yo.
What's up?
Yo. How are you? Cold.
Yeah, it's like
I get a call today.
It's like 22 degrees, going to get down to 16 tonight. And I got 6 inches of snow coming Thursday night. Yay.
Yeah. Literally get a call, I don't know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes before, we start here. And it's you got a pistol in? I'm like, well, that's fucking
I got
great.
a text earlier today, but I was out of town. So
yeah, considering it's supposed to be wintry fucking mix the next 2 days and shit. And I like, how am I gonna drive an hour one way? Like, thanks.
Yeah.
I'll see you when it's
all
out.
Yeah, we were on a little road trip today, and I got a text, and I was a couple hours away. He said, "Hey, I got you done." Came in. I was like, "Okay, I'll try to get it tomorrow or something."
Yeah.
So
at least it's here, though. That's
it is here. Yeah. Hey guys, real quick, there's a couple of questions out there talking about SHOT Show already. I love it, guys. Ask the questions. Anything you want to know about SHOT, about what guns or any products or whatever. Anything that you guys want to bring up, go ahead and ask them. I am starring those questions, and we will get to them. So don't wait for us to start talking about it. Go ahead. If you've got a question, go ahead and throw it out there, and we will get to those in a little bit. I guess we could kind of start because we don't have the pony polls this week. So,
well, before we get into the SHOT questions, I
have to start like right this second, but yeah.
But I have a hot take, and I want to get your two opinion on this hot take because I saw this today. This has been bothering me for many years.
What is this?
I want you guys.
The Jim Rome show. He's going with a hot take, the hot yoga take.
Well, we could call it that, whatever you want to call it.
Hot yoga.
Hot yoga.
Guns and Ammo every year gives out their award, right? For Gun of the Year, Gun of this. This year it was awards. Fight Lights.
I swear.
Well, you let me. Let me finish. This year was the
Okay.
Fight Light Heron that has not been in stock at all this entire year. In 2016, this is where it really irritates me and grinds my gears. Is 2016? It was the TC Compass, which immediately right after it got called the gun of the year went on recall. You've got the Remington pistols were also named gun of the year. So, do you take any stock into Guns and Ammo or any other these organizations that name guns of the year? Is that something people should be looking at, or should we just throw that away and go, "Wow, it's a pay-for-play game"?
I think magazine. I think the magazine game. I think the magazine game is the exact same as the fucking gun tuber game, and you need to take every bit of it with a grain of salt. It's all the same. It's all media. It's all who pays, who you got good relationships with, who you've got the most experience with, the best experience with, and it's like a personal thing, right? And we don't always get the same thing. Like Ghost and I, like you and I got 1 and 2. Which one was that? The 2311.
No, we got 1 and 2. No, we got 1 and 2. We thought it'd be switched. We thought that the tip up would get gun of the year, and then the high power would get second. But you talking about that?
I'm talking about serial numbers.
Oh, 2 and 3. 2 and 3. Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, yeah.
Keith got 1. Keith got 1. We got 2. And
we
3.
got 2 and 3 of the. Which one was that?
That was the
2311, maybe.
The 2311, yeah. The initial launch of the 2311.
But anyway, the thing is, those are seemingly a little, and if you've worked with any pre-production, both of you know this. Like you get things, if you get the early ones or whatever, sometimes you get things that are different. And that can be good and that can be bad. That can be good because you've got one that's solid and some little tweak was made. And then when they went into production and started shipping, they were falling apart and there was recalls and there was everything else. Well, that makes things look bad, right? But you were honest in that this thing is banging, right? It's awesome. Why? Because you actually got a good one.
I did, yeah. That's another thing. You know, I have a bunch of friends that in this weird world of the gun tuber thing, obviously, and one guy, I'm not going to mention his name, Mark from Fitfire. I'm not going to mention his name at all. No, I love Mark.
Sexiest gun tuber on the internet.
He is the sexiest damn. He's got the best hair of any gun tuber on. Well, maybe besides Herrera, maybe Brandon. Brandon's probably got the best hair, but I would say, and Lovell's got pretty good hair. So he's a top best hair, right?
I think Mark's got the best hairstyle.
Oh, it's a bit gay, but it's still a good. He can pull it off, right? Yeah.
Like his is more styled than
it is.
Than
Herrera, Herrera, like when Brandon started running for like Congress and stuff, he kind of started doing some stuff. Lovell's got some decent hair, but yeah, no, I mean, I think Mark's definitely a top 5 like best hair, right? That should be a Gundy Award, best hair, right? If we're gonna do this, let's have fun with it, right?
Zeke's still hanging in there.
Zeke's whole look is a thing, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, Zeke without the beard, okay, he's still a big son of a bitch. But Zeke with the beard, total different story, you know. But no, they're anyways. So Mark, you know, and it's so funny because you know, Mark and I we don't all get the same guns, but we are interested into similar things. So we end up over the years have gotten a lot of similar or the same guns and all that. And this is not a knock on Mark. He's just doing what he does, and he's telling the truth as to what he knows. I'm not sure what the hell he does to guns, but like 90% of the guns that he gets from different companies within the first 200 or 300 shots, like have these catastrophic malfunctions. And I don't understand it because like, I'll sit there and I say, I've got that gun and I've never had an issue. I put 1,000 rounds through that thing and I haven't had one mishap. Yeah. And he'll sit there and we've talked to the phone. And so the last one was the lever action from G-Force. He was having all sorts of problems and I have no problems whatsoever. So I call him and say, look, bro, maybe we got a different batch, or he texts me. He's like, man, like it's so weird. I'm like, maybe we have a different batch. And so he sent me a text, a picture of his serial number. And let's just say that serial number was 1234, right? I look at mine,
I got
and
the
it's
same
1, 2, and
combination on
it's
my
1, 2,
luggage.
and it's 1, 2, 3, 5. And I was like, I'm literally one off of yours, so it's not a different batch. So I don't know, like, and it's so weird because that happens throughout this whole thing in the gun tuber world. Is Clover, Ginger, and I, all three could have the exact same gun, and we could have sequential serial numbers.
Well,
And we're going to have either different issues or whatever with the same gun, basically. And the reason why, okay, so I'm getting to this because of this magazine rating gun of the year, right? So you have Guns and Ammo, you've got the NRA magazine, you've got these 3 or 4 publications throughout the year that rate and they give these guns of the year, right? And do you take them as a grain of salt? Yes and no. Yes and no. To a certain extent, is it a pay for play? I think that most of these, I would say yes, but I also say no, because let's be honest, most of these gun manufacturers in the country, in probably the world, are advertising in Guns and Ammo. They're advertising in NRA. So it's not like there's only a handful of people doing this and they're the guns that are getting chosen. It's not the case because everyone advertises. So you're looking at that. So is it a pay for play? Yes, maybe no, probably not in a certain extent. But you also then you have to sit there and say, okay, from these publications, if it was truly a pay for play and it was just something blah, 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 which you have to also understand is Guns and Ammo and all these different publications, their reputation may be stuck with these choices. So they're not just willy-nilly just throwing stuff out there like we think this is a great gun. And it's a crap gun. Now their reputation is saying they can't choose guns, so no one cares anymore. So there's that. The third one is we don't know, one, what their requirements are, what their criterias are, who's choosing it. They might sit there and say, okay, this year, John, you get to be the one that chooses the gun of the year. Next year, Clover, you got next year. So start looking. We don't know. We don't have a clue, you know?
Well,
so the answer is, I think you can take it as a grain of salt, but I don't think it's just don't ignore it because I think there's some legitimacy to it. I'm not in that game, so I don't know. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't have a way to answer that.
Well, I've got a big thing that gets overlooked that I would think the vast majority, I would say, of people probably listening to this that will ever listen to this and in the community are new people. They're not lifelong firearm owners. And I think that's evident by the surge in numbers we see year to year to year to year, right? That makes that pretty obvious. We don't got a bunch of old heads. So I'll get to that in a second because you brought up something that's really critical.
I try, you know.
Whether you're talking GunTuber magazine, we all have our friends in the industry. We all have a certain sense of like obligation and loyalty. And, you know, that's whether they sponsor stuff, you know, whether they regularly trust us to work with their products, whatever. Right. And so it's really sticky. And that's where a lot of the, what is the word? A lot of the distrust or the, skepticism, right, can come into play with that. And I totally understand that. I'm the same way. That's why I say grain of salt. Always say grain of salt. But at the end of the day, you're right about categorization and stuff, because I'll put out a top 5 at the end of the year. And I'll give a great example. My top 5 did not include the Ross Martin the RM1 or whatever. Yeah. It's a great handgun. There's nothing wrong with it. My top 5, it don't make it. Why? Because it's mainly a concealed carry that's designed for that, right? That's not my bag. So obviously the full size 1911s, the shit like that is gonna, it's just gonna outweigh it. Doesn't mean it's a bad handgun, right? Even though it quote unquote lost out of the top 5, even then it doesn't mean it's bad. Now back to the overarching thing. This whole thing we're talking about, I've heard my entire life at gun shows, gun shops, the gun counter at fucking Walmart, right? Well, that's a piece of shit. I bought one of those and it didn't run. Well, I've had one for 10 years and I've never had a single problem. My entire life, I've heard exactly what we deal with as gun tubers, and this person got a bad one and that person's got a bad one and this is trash, right? I've dealt with it my entire life hearing that. And what that tells me is it's the same whether it's a car or a fucking blender or a pair of shoes. There's good ones and there's bad ones that are made. There's a fuck ton of shit that's sold every year, and people get bad ones. It happens. Or people abuse them and they don't tell you they fucking abuse them.
Yeah,
that's why they fell apart.
And that's the thing is and I don't know. Like I don't know what some
how many
of these
people
guys
buy
are
a screwdriver and use it for a pry bar? How many? How many people out there? Let's be honest. Will buy a fucking set of screwdrivers, and the next thing you know, you're prying on some shit, or a pocket knife, How many people try to unscrew shit with a pocket knife and break the tip? Is that the fault of the fucking person that made the pocket knife or the company?
It's just a tip.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Here's my thing with this. Okay, I can forgive. I can see forgiving the TC thing because, like you guys said, the Compass, they might have got one. But when you call something the gun of the year and it hasn't even shipped out to dealers yet, hasn't sold a unit, but the one you got, I call bullshit.
I don't know why you'd call it bullshit, because it's not guns and ammo's problem that they haven't shipped. It's not their problem that it hasn't got to dealers. And if it was released in 2024, that might be the criteria. What's the best gun of the year that we saw throughout the year at a show that was been officially released? It's not guns and ammo's problem that they haven't got them to dealers yet. They're just saying this is the best gun we've seen of the year. I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate, but once again, I mean, that's not guns and ammo's problem.
I can see what you're saying, but you're right.
I do too.
They get to set their criteria, right? Personally, that's the reason with mine. Like my top 5, the influencer was not in there. The brat was not in there. They were not up for considerations. I'm like, you know what? Best of 24. My cutoff is going to be like mid-November, mid-late November, something like that is my cutoff.
Because I haven't had time to work with it yet.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but that doesn't mean other people's criteria is the same.
Yeah.
It's the same as if you looked at a poll, right? Yeah. Like any kind of poll or study or anything like that. Sometimes you got to get into the fine print to actually see what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know. And it's like, the 2025 cars. Well, they start shipping out and you can get them in October of 2024, but it's still a 25 model year, Let's see here. Can't a new or different gun be best gun of the year? Absolutely. I mean, anything can be. And like that's what we're talking about. Anything can be the best gun of the year. Depends on whoever's choosing that and what their criteria, what they like about guns. We could be given, all three of us could be with guns and ammo and saying, all right, you guys are going to be the 3 guys. I want you each submit your gun of the year and we'll choose one of them. That's all it was said. So we're going to have our own criteria. We might have one person doing a full size, 1911. One's doing a concealed carry. One was doing a revolver. Well, that might be our 3 different criteria that we're looking at. How do we choose which one's which? I don't know. The answer is I don't know.
Well, who's to say? I mean, why could you not have a small batch company? Why couldn't something like that happen to where maybe they've only got the capacity to produce 100 guns a year? And maybe they're $3,000 or $5,000 guns or whatever, right? But they're super custom or whatever. Well, they're only putting 100 a year out in the market, but that doesn't mean it can't win the best gun of the year. It'll still be the best gun of the year. It exists.
Here's my other thing. Is that
I'm not saying you're wrong, Ginger. I'm just playing devil's advocate because I love the conversation. So.
No, I want to answer G's question. Is that G stuff we use? Is that G?
Yeah, it's G Webs. Yeah, he's got 17,000 accounts. So
I don't mind telling you you're wrong.
Why does it need to sell well to be the best? I'm not saying it needs to sell well. I'm just saying it needs to be out for sale. That's like me going, okay, let's just say that bullpup revolver. Bullpup revolver. Actually, they made one production model. Like, let's just. I'm playing.
Well, they didn't have it at SHOT Show.
They didn't have it at SHOT.
They had a thing that they made it out of clay.
I call bullshit. I call bullshit. They had a production model. Where did you see the production model?
No, he said if they had one. Yeah.
If you said if. Oh, okay. Yeah. There's no way they did because that fucking design was impossible. But I hear you.
Okay, let's scratch the bullpup gun. Let's say the PSA MP5, right? That they
Okay.
teased for years, right? That's
For
an
11
example of
years?
what I'm trying
Sure,
to.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's just say I launch a gun at SHOT Show. I call it the PSA MP5. Let's just say that it gets named Gun of the Year.
Yep.
It never sold. It never made it to the shelves. So how can it be Gun of the Year if it never made it to the shelves? I'm not saying it has to sell well. It could be. You could sell 10 units, but for a gun to be named Gun of the Year that has not gone into full production or production at all is where I say bullshit.
So when you do your gun of the year list, you can set your criteria. When I do mine, I can set my criteria. Guns and ammo can set their criteria. They very easily could have said, "What's the best gun we've seen at a show this year?" and call it the gun of the year. They don't know if, like, once again, it's just, it is what it is. I mean, I do agree that it needs to come to market eventually. And usually in that same year, but
I blame you, Emil. It's his fault.
Is Emil out there?
No, but we're talking guns.
Okay. Well, I blame Emil too. I mean, for anything I can, I blame Emil. I can't wait to get a hug from him here in a couple of weeks.
It's got to be him. It's got to be his.
I know
fault.
it sounds gay, but I love getting a hug from Emil. He's a good.
Listen. That shit grinds my gear because
I obviously tell that it gets on. It gets to you. We can tell it's gotten to you. You won't let it go.
Yeah. No, because it pisses me off.
I understand.
But like there's so many other things out there that could have been called Gun of the Year. That even you could have said the Smith & Wesson lever gun, the Bodyguard 2.0, but you're pulling this thing out that never sold a product, that never went into production, and you're calling it that.
So let's be honest about something, though, and we'll keep it in the world of GunTuber, right? We'll keep it in the world of video. If I make a video, best guns of the year, best gun of the year, and I go into this video, right? And before I reveal, I lay out my 5 fucking minutes of criteria. Nobody watches that fucking video. Whereas if I fly straight into it with just a couple of lines and here's the gun of the year and we're shooting and playing with it, it blows up and everybody fucking watches it. So at the end of the day, nobody cares about the criteria. Nobody wants to sit through and I say nobody, the vast majority of people that view and read don't want to hear how the sausage is made. They just want to see the fucking sausage.
I need pop-up pictures, man. Come on.
Here's the difference between, like, here's the difference.
Change the analogy to sausage, man.
If we're
you
talking,
understand the sausage, not like ginger, but you do.
I get it.
Here's what I'm getting at too, though. Here's the other point of this: is like Clover, you do your gun of the years. Ghost, you do your gun of the year. Those are guns that you have videos out on, theoretically, correct? Theoretically, you have videos out on the video.
Not necessarily. Well, yeah.
Probably.
For the most part,
yes.
Yeah. It's the guns I worked with. Yeah. I've worked with as a criteria. Yeah.
Unless I put it like 10 guns, the top 5 guns that I want to see or whatever. But yes, if it's my gun of the year, it is the guns that I've actually handled and all that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So from my understanding on this thing, this is the first time that an article has even been written about this thing. And it was called Gun of the Year. So how can something be like if your criteria is like, and I get it, each of us have different criteria for Gun of the Year. My Gun of the Year is going to be different from Clover's, different from Ghost. But you can't say that something is a Gun of the Year without it even having a track record or anything, or even being tested.
You would
That's
think,
my
right?
point.
No. And I agree with your point. I think that you have very valid points. My only argument is they can do whatever the fuck they want. Now the question is, do you trust them or not? If you don't trust their judgment, then don't read their magazine.
Well, that's what it comes down to.
Clarify a couple things for me, John. Was this simple answers if you can? So because I got a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Was this an actual award?
Yes.
Okay, it was an actual award. Okay. I don't have any more questions. The reason I asked that is, was this an actual award, or was it a clickbaity article like Gun of the Year? It's some new shit that come out, right? And it was like Gun of the Year ? Right? But if it
No,
was
it
an
was the actual
award,
like the
yeah.
stamp award star
Okay.
thing that you get when you get
Okay.
Gun of the
Because you've
Year.
got the clickbait prediction model too, right? That you'll do sometimes just for traction. Like, is this the Gun of the Year, or whatever?
Yeah.
Bullet for
no,
Buck says,
that's
who the fuck's even looks at a print magazine anymore? Homie, whether or not you want to believe it or not, it's still a huge market out there. So
Only
we
for
may
the
not
art.
we may not like it, we may not partake in it, but there's a reason why people are spending six figures in marketing and print material still to this day. So
I only read the articles,
and
man.
this is
I only
bet
read
you
the
do.
pop-up centerfolds. Now, if
Oh,
they
the
bios?
pop-up
The bios are
centerfolds,
awesome.
I'm in.
Do the bios help
the
you throw
article-
to second base? I'm just,
damn it. Clover took my joke. I was gonna say the
Yeah.
joke. Here's my
gotta be quicker. Gotta be quicker, man.
I gotta be quicker. I was trying to. Here's my overarching thing, right? As you know, we have people who are friends with us in print. We have people who are YouTuber video people. We're friends.
Mm-hmm.
The magazine guys, their biggest complaint. Well, the magazine articles are dying. Yeah, but print is still selling. I'm not going to argue that fact. Print is still selling.
I'll put you this
There's
way:
a
the
demographic
magazines. Yeah, I want to do this to you and to Bullets for Bucks. He says, I know they send them out, but do people actually read them? If people didn't buy them, they wouldn't exist. So the fact that these magazines are still around tells you they don't care if you read the articles. They just want your $3.50 a month for the magazine. Obviously, there's enough people that are still buying these magazines to justify them having the magazines. So to make a blanket statement, nobody reads that. I'm just a dumb Marine, though, so I don't know what I'm talking about.
How much is
you got to think of the demographic?
I have no idea.
$10. I want to say they're $9.95.
I know. You can probably get the digital version online for $2 a month or something.
I want to say that when Chris was on the cover of Recoil, I wanted to get a few and get him to sign them, and just so I'd have them for giveaways and stuff. I think those fuckers were like $15 a piece, man. I was like, Jesus, it's crazy.
Recoil is a little bit more expentive.
It was pretty thick magazine, to be fair.
But Recoil actually, Recoil is one of the few that still actually I do appreciate, and I see.
Yeah, I've got a little more trust in Recoil than
I do enjoy Recoil.
Yeah, but I know that we know the people buying that too.
Yeah, he's like, people aren't buying for themselves. It doesn't matter who they're buying them for. It doesn't matter how you get them. Once again, we can't just dismiss the entire print media. If the print media was dead and no one was buying it or whatever, they would cease to exist. The fact that they still exist tells you something. You may not want to admit it. Print media is still a bit. Have you ever been to SHOT Show? If you've never been to SHOT Show, there's a whole print media side of the media room. That those computers are full day in and day out in the media room. Yeah. There's something going on with print media.
Well, also, if you ever had conversations with Yamil, which if you don't know, Yamil does photography for Guns and Ammo, right?
For everybody. For everybody.
For everybody. This is true. He's a freelancer, but he works with he's a photographer. He does the print media. And he stays busy as shit. So you talk to, I'm trying to think of the other writers, because being a part of POMA for a few years there, that's all that fucking was the old school.
Now they're weird people. I'm not keeping up for the
shit,
they're weird people.
Oh my God, they're weird. I would agree. They're in their own old school bubble world for sure.
Hold on, Buck. Both for Buck. How old roughly are you? You could say like 30s, 40s.
I have no
Just
idea.
put it out there. Here, I want to say, because here's the argument from my generation and probably Gen Xers too. Print media is dead, right?
Speak for me.
I'm not speaking, but a big
it's not
chunk
dead, but it's not as relevant.
Right. The big thing is that even from and I'm going to go from a GOA perspective, we still get people requesting print everything. They don't want emails. They don't want this. They want print.
Yeah.
A big portion of the gun industry, and I would say some sales, a good chunk of it is 65 plus. And who still reads print magazine? 65 plus.
Now, in the next 20 years, we'll probably see it gone.
See,
Absolutely.
I
yeah,
think it's
we'll see
dying
it
out.
gone.
I would
It's
agree
dying
with
big
bullets.
time.
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree with Bullets for Bucks and Wes and them out there saying that it's dying out. No,
It
no,
is
I
dying.
totally believe it is.
Absolutely.
But I mean,
Absolutely.
it's not a quick death. It's definitely a slow death. And also, you've got a morphing into the digital. So not
Yeah.
only the digital print editions and blogs and websites, but also digital, that you've got a lot of these writers and stuff and magazines that are shifting into the podcast
Yeah.
and the YouTube channel world.
Yeah.
And they have that element at play too. They're not just a magazine anymore. So they've
Yeah.
diversified a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, when's the last time? I mean, I still see them every now and then, but like it's hard to find a newspaper anymore because most people will get their daily newspaper online, but it's still a newspaper. People are still writing those articles. They're still taking those pictures for those articles. They just might not be in a paper form, but it's still a publication. It's still a print publication, because like I said, just because it may not be a physical paper magazine anymore, it might be a digital, but you're still having to write those same articles. You're still having to take those same pictures. All of that nothing has changed. It's just how you deliver it between paper versus digital, but it's still a magazine. So, it is what it is. Right on. All right.
There's your
we got a
pony
couple
poll.
questions.
There's your pony poll.
There's my pony poll for the night. Absolutely. Is print media dead? And yeah, anyways. All right. Calaveras. First question. Like I said, guys, if you have questions about looking forward to certain things out there at SHOT Show, any questions about how we're going to run things at SHOT Show or anything about SHOT Show, if you're interested, throw them out there, because we're going to pull the curtain back and let you in on a little stuff behind SHOT Show. But Calaveras out there says, is anyone trying to look at the 7mm Backcountry at SHOT? I am not. That doesn't mean, I'm sure there's be a lot of people that will, but that's just not my wheelhouse. Ginger, Clove, 7mm Backcountry. You guys looking forward to that or no?
No.
Go ahead.
Here's my thing with 7mm Backcountry. I've looked at it since it launched. It's basically 7mm Rem mag, except it's got a little bit more power. It's not much. And you've got 7mm PRC and 7mm Rem mag. It's another PRC federal cartridge that's just going to go to the wayside like 30.
See, I disagree. I think it's more of a 280. Considerably more power, but I think
so?
It's more of a 280. Yeah.
I don't know. I have no desire to.
Ghost doesn't even understand what these.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So
what are y'all talking about?
Well, it's only
I have no desire.
What 7mm Rem mag's 3,200 feet per second. I think this one's at 33.
33, 34, somewhere in that range.
They're saying 31 is can you get 32, 33? Probably, but I don't know if they're going to put that number out there. So they're probably saying on average of 31. It's still screaming,
Here's what I like about it. And then Clover, sorry, I'm going to interrupt. This is what I like about it. It's using a steel case to give more pressure into it. So I could see hotter kind of Wildcat cartridges or people using that steel case to start getting higher pressure, rounds and projectiles to go faster. Yeah. That I'm excited about. The round itself, I'm not excited about.
So are they all going to be steel case? They're all going to be steel case?
The 7mm Backcountry?
Yeah. Is it? Okay. I don't know anything about it.
So, like even the match and stuff? I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know.
Because you're going to want that's a cartridge that you cut out reloading, and you're going to kill a lot of market in that particular sector. So I don't foresee that. I don't foresee that being the thing. But back to what I was going to say, one of the issues when Federal puts out a new cartridge as opposed to Winchester, Winchester can fire up, basically just all across town, so to speak, fire up and build some rifles and shit. Whereas federal has to have some partnerships. And what I've seen with the backcountry is you're talking about some pretty uber expensive fucking rifles, with the exception of maybe Savage or Weatherby. Savage and Weatherby, and even Savage is not cheap anymore. We're not talking about Savage Axis. We're talking about 110 actions. And so, in the 110s and in the Weatherby Mark Fives and things like that, that's like the cheapest rifles you're getting into with it, right? So you're talking about a really high-end market as well on the rifles. And then so that gets me into when he asked, are you going to look at it? Other than walking into Federal and picking up a dummy case or something or looking at it.
You're probably going to walk over to Federal for the 30 anyway, so you might go and check it out, right?
Yeah, maybe if I'm over there while I'm over there. But
yeah,
what I was going to say, being able to actually shoot it on range day or anything, I don't know that they're going to have. I don't know that they're going to have anybody there to be able to have that in their booth, because they would almost have to have a Weatherby or a Savage or a, and maybe Savage has one there if Savage is even at range day. I don't know, or Christensen or one of the other ones.
Bergara will be there, but I don't know if they would be in there or not.
I haven't seen Bergara on the list.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know.
There's not but about 10, maybe. I probably ain't even that much. Probably more like 8.
Yeah. I don't know. BH40, was that 41? BH41. What is Glock making for SHOT Show 25? Do you guys know?
It just got announced today.
Oh
yeah, I haven't seen it. I've been on a road trip today, so what is it?
It's their partnership with Aimpoint. Let's see.
So nothing.
Yeah,
it's an interesting way how to mount an acro, and it looks like it's got like. I have to find, if I can find it, I can show it to you. But it's
what
basically
model are they under right now. Are they on 40? Is it 49 going to be the next?
Here's what it looks like.
The reason why I'm saying that is the 50's got to be coming soon. I want to know what the Glock 50 is going to be. You know what I'm saying?
They can always skip 50 and come back to it though too. They've done that before with
that
number.
So
let me pull this up.
My understanding, they're calling it the A cut, and it's an aim point, and they're calling it the COA cut for it. It's basically the screws mount into the rear where the.
But it's only going to fit for the aim point. Then what you're saying?
It's only going to fit for the aim point. So the screws mount,
and it's actually the only aim point COA. Not just any aim point, but that specific COA site.
Yes,
that's not good. That's not smart.
Did you get the
Glock
link?
Didn't give a shit. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Just be careful. There's a video that plays with loud music.
Shocker,
I'm not going to present it.
Glock's not doing anything crazy. Shocker.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. I think it's cool, but it's not overly exciting. It's a cool way how to mount a dot onto it. But other than that, that's about it.
Well, it is kind of cool that Glock's actually starting to get into the dot game a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like the last year or so, they've actually acknowledged that there is a reason to.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't have adapter plate technology. Better. Like you got to go with what is it, MOS, and then you have to have an adapter. It is like, why don't you?
They're basically telling people to just go buy one of our clones. Like they're basically saying that, which is fine. We will.
Glock doesn't give a shit though.
They don't give a shit.
No, they've got all the contracts in the world. They don't give two craps.
They don't care.
I mean, I think it's cool that you're mounting screws for this. It's basically like a plate that sits on the back of the optic to hold it in place, and it's the mounting screws with the rear sight in it, so you can co-witness. But other than that, there's nothing.
I think it's
Really?
cute to what you consider to be cool. So if that
I like
gets
to
you, if
see
that gets you
some
hot,
change.
you know,
I think it's cute that
It's a
Scott
different way
out
of
there
doing
thinks
it.
to think that Ruger upset Glock.
yeah,
Promise
Oh,
you, Ruger
Glock.
has never and will never upset Glock. Very
no,
few companies upset Glock. They don't care.
no.
Well, they did the
Um,
chassis. They basically did what the military asked for, and they're good.
It's what it is. All right, got this. My next one, BH41 again. Any silencers for SHOT Show 25? I think this year is going to. This is just my opinion. I think you're going to see. Good question, by the way. A lot. And the only reason why I say that are times are getting down to like days, and instead of 12, 13, 14 months. It's dropped to days in some instances, if not
Hours, actually.
hours.
Yeah.
So I think that I think it's been. I'm not saying that the suppressor game, has been kicking up in the last few years, even more than normal. But I think now that there is an opportunity for people to not have to wait a year, I think people are more likely to start buying more suppressors. And so I think for the first time in a long time, you're going to see these companies really start to come out with different things, knowing that there's an audience out there that is really active at this point. What do you guys think about this suppressor game this year?
So we all know Pappas pretty well, and if that he's Mount Rushmore of fucking suppressors, in my opinion.
100%,
probably, as far as
absolutely.
knowledge and everything else. And so, just with conversations with him for years and years and years and years, there just isn't very many ways to go with fucking suppressors anymore, unfortunately. So, are we going to see new companies or new little gimmicky, and I use the term gimmicky lightly, not as being derogatory, but maybe colors or external designs or
maybe even materials make them a little bit lighter,
Yeah,
possibly.
yeah. But as far as anything truly innovative, like ammunition, there's some tweaks to firearms where they will run better suppressed, and tweaks with ammunition and certain things. There's some certain advancements that are going to have to be made. Ammunition is one of the big fucking hurdles I see with innovation. We're still running predominantly off smokeless fucking powder that's over 100 years old. Like the propellant technology is just, where's it at?
Here's what I'll say. I think we will see more expansion on lines, and then to go off of what C&T Design and Arms just said, the paperwork and the $200 text said, yeah, I know cans aren't coming off the NFA. Now more than ever, I think we'll see that because cans are becoming more in common use, and that was the argument for the AR-15 when it went to the Supreme Court, that it's in common use. Now with that argument made in common use, and with suppressors coming back so quickly and more people getting into it, I can foresee one of those two going and actually.
I can say this: the NFA is never going anywhere, folks. Let's just be honest.
No, the NFA is never going.
Let's just be honest. That said, if there was to have something come off NFA, suppressors probably is the next thing, right? That's probably the next thing. Or the first thing, but if there is something to come off, that's probably it. That said, I'm not trying to justify it. I am not saying that we need to remember something. In the 30s, when the NFA came about, $200 was like $4,000 back then. So the fact that it's $200, I hear people all the time that $200, like, let's just be honest. We're lucky they haven't raised that price in 100 years, right? Oh, yeah. They very easily could have, because that $200 in 1930s something was worth a lot, $4,000 in today's money. That said, I'm not trying to justify anything, but if you're going to spend $600 to $2,000 on a can, the $200 To me, it was never the $200. It was waiting a fucking year, right?
Yeah.
Here's
You know.
what I'll tell you, Ghost. This is from what I've heard from talks with people.
Okay. If you're not going to give me solid names and solid sources, I don't want to hear this shit.
Okay, it's talked with our team. Thank you.
There you go. All right.
We have a
Huggy
better
Bear,
likelihood.
Huggy Bear. Be honest. Your source is Huggy Bear, right?
Yeah. No. We have a better chance
Hey, boo-boo.
to get SBR, SBSs off the NFA before we get suppressors. And the reason why, and this is the reason what I was told, is because the pistol brace thing and how pistol braces became this big thing and are proving that SBRs and SBSs aren't any more dangerous and that we have the pistol thing, we could see those come off sooner than we do suppressors because of all the stigma around suppressors.
No, I get it. I think it's hilarious to me. There are countries in Europe, literally, that you can't go to the range and shoot if you don't have a suppressor.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
You can't, and I think it's hilarious to me that it's an NFA item.
What was it? New Zealand. It was New Zealand, I think, was when New Zealand had really lax gun laws. You could buy suppressors at hardware stores for like $60, $70.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
So back to suppressor tech, suppressor innovation.
Yeah.
One of the things I have seen over the last few years, and you guys have shot at enough range days and other things, you probably noticed it too. I've noticed some innovation, and I haven't talked in depth with Pappas about it, or I just don't remember because we get off on so much other goofy ass shit when you talk to Pappas, right? But something has increased in the tech or in the innovation in the world of back pressure. Cans nowadays, pretty much across the board, have less and less and less back pressure. And that is definitely a design change that companies they're paying attention to back pressure more now, and maybe tweaking their baffle systems and other things to help mitigate that. Because every now and then you get, for the most part, you go to these events and they're fine. You don't have a problem. But every now and then you pick one up and it makes you wonder what can's on it. Because if it's a booth that's not a suppressor booth, right? It's just a firearm company and they're using a variety of cans, right? And you'll pick one up and the back pressure is just insane on that thing. You're like, oh my God, what kind of a piece of shit can is this? Like, this is horrible. Because and I just noticed that I've become more accustomed to being able, back in the old day, I was shooting suppressors in the 80s, right? So like back pressures just was a thing. But here in the last few years, it's definitely less and less and less of a thing. It's almost non-existent, right? That you get back pressure out of something like that.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ginger.
Oh, I wasn't gonna say anything.
Oh, I thought you just looked like you had something to say.
No, so somebody said flow through cans. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Huxworks owns the patent on flow through cans. So I don't think we'll see very many more of those come out until that patent drops.
Yeah, but the idea is there. Someone's gonna be smart enough, engineering wise, to figure out something, right? But like Clover said, there's only so much you can do with cans, right?
Well,
there's only so much you can do.
That's not Clover that says that, right?
You said it earlier. I said you said it earlier.
I know,
there's only
so
much you can. Okay,
but that's coming from Pappas, right? Like,
okay, I don't give a shit who said it, but it's true. There's only so much you can do with cans. It's just like the AR. There's only so much you can do with an AR design. It's what it is. You can make things lighter. You can make things more ergonomical. You can make things this, that, and the other using different materials, blah, 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 blah. But the design is what it is. A can's design is what it is. Now, is there going to be someone down the road that figures out a way to revolutionize suppressors? Yeah, but that's going to be the next time that some metal gets used for the first time, or something to do with the baffles, or like there's a new crazy ass thing that's going to revolutionize it. But in generalities, that's a once in a generation thing. I don't know what that's going to be, because we don't know what that's going to be, right? But I think what you can do is you can try to make them smaller, lighter, but yet still the same effectiveness, or whatever. There's different things that you can do, possibly, or you may not be able to do, right? But I think that's where the suppressor game's going for the near future, is just trying to figure out how to make them lighter and all of that stuff.
I think
using different materials. But there's not as much you can do with them. Go ahead.
I think we're in the golden age of suppressors right now. I mean, Clover, you've been doing it since the 80s. Think about since the 80s until now.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I would agree. But I think we're reaching that. There's a bell curve, right?
Yeah.
Law of diffusion of innovation. And I think right now, I agree with you. I think we're at the pinnacle. We're at the top of the mountain, the tippy top of the hill almost right now. But that's my point, is I think we're at the tippy top of the hill and it all goes down from here. I don't think there's much upward movement. I don't see much upward movement in it right now, because I don't see enough innovation in other things that would lead to more innovation needing to be required in suppressors.
So let me ask you this. Let me throw this question out there real quick, okay? If suppressors were to come off the NFA, okay, comes off the NFA, at that point, knowing that you can get them wherever, whenever, right?
Or just build your own
or whatever, without having to go through the paperwork, get the stamp and all that crap. Do you think at that point there will be some revolutionary design thoughts and processes and changes in the suppressor world? Do you think they're just not willing to basically, I don't know how you put this, but for lack of a better term, invest that much time and money into something that, until it becomes, if it becomes off the NFA, then there's going to be a mass exodus and rushing towards getting cans. At that point, maybe they do start looking and expanding their R&D. I don't know.
I think what happens, hang on, Ginger, just a second. I think what happens is when you remove it from the NFA, and I can go down to the fucking hardware store legally and buy rubber washers and
I'm going down to Tractor Supply to get me a suppressor today.
You don't even have to, but just the parts, right, to put it together. I'm gonna buy some tubing. I'm
not smart enough to put one together.
So anyway, but here's my point with that, right? When a smart engineering-minded Ghost Tactical or Ginger or who the fuck ever out there in the chat goes to the hardware store, starts building their own suppressors and playing around in the garage and all this other kind of stuff, right? That's where you start getting innovation, because you've got more and more people fucking playing around with it. So somebody's going to come up with something, right? Out of all the people that are free to legally do that without getting in trouble, somebody's going to come up with something and go, oh shit, if you use this type of a rubber washer, or if you shape the baffle this way, like, holy shit, right? It's a numbers game, right?
Absolutely.
That's what it is. So I agree with you in that sense, that getting them off will help with that.
Go ahead, Ginger.
Here's what I see. This is my thought process. It's going to be the first person to the bottom. Who's going to make the cheapest can that sells the most of them? Because people are going to get into it. They're looking for a cheap 9mm. There's $200 22 can.
Right? That'd be a thread adapter, basically.
Yeah.
If you can buy a thread adapter and a fuel filter, you're good.
It's going to be a race to who can get the cheapest, best bang for your buck can out there. And we see it. We see like 22 cans are out there for like $200. And a lot of people get into suppressors with 22s because the barrier to entry is so cheap. I see the same thing like we've seen with guns. Guns that are cheaper are getting better and better as years go on, especially over the last 10. I could see the same thing is, do we see a bunch of low-end suppressor cans come out that aren't
absolutely
great? Yes.
Absolutely.
But then we will see like a race to who can make the best, cheapest can out there.
Yeah, and I think what you're going to have is let's just take Silencer Central. Let's take, the top 3 or 4 companies, right? They're all at that point going to have their budget entry level $200. Then they're going to have their $400. Then they're going to have their $600, and they're going to have their $1,000 cans. Instead of saying, here's all of our cans, they're all going to go for that bottom. They have to. They have to. Now, are they gonna put all of their stuff into those cheap budget ones? No, but they're going to have a SKU number of a $200 can or $100 can, right? That's just, everyone's going to, if you don't, as Ginger's saying, you're stupid because you're missing out on, for at least the first year, probably the massive numbers of people that want to spend $100, $200, to try out a can. Because let's just be honest, the vast majority of people in this country have never shot anything suppressed in their lives. So they're going to want to try it out, right?
Yep.
They also think it's Hollywood silent, and they get it. Well, that's not exactly as quiet as I thought. Well, but they all want to try it out. So yeah, they're going to try to find the cheapest one they can get to try it out. And then, all right, I tried that $200 suppressor. Now we're going to go with that $400 or $600 now that I know what I'm talking about. But hell yeah, they're going to go for that $200 suppressor.
Well, there's a component there that you've hit on, right? And that is availability, right? Ease of availability.
Yes.
And so this is something that I've seen that over the years. I mean, I've been doing YouTube. I do a lot of demo where, we'll take people out and there'll be 10, 12, 15 suppressors, right?
Yeah.
Figuring out, kind of trying to figure out what they want. The key to suppressors is your own firearm. What are you trying to suppress specifically? Yeah. What can's right for that? What type of sound signature are you looking at for? There's a lot of things that go on to it, right? Into suppressors. And the most expensive or rarest material or the fanciest design is not fucking necessarily the best.
Yeah.
There's been many times I went out and a customer was dead set on a $1,200-$1,500 can and ended up buying a $700 one.
Yeah. Sure.
Why? Because it worked better
for what they needed it for.
It was quieter. It cycled better. It did everything better.
So here's something that several people have brought up in this chat, and the last one that brought it up was mentioning it was in Gabriel, but this is something several people brought up, and it's true. So instead of focusing on let's figure out the next stage and the next innovation of suppressors, there's a lot to be said that how much of the innovation will be in the ammo.
Well,
how many ammo and suppressor companies are going to team up at that point and say we're going to make ammo specifically for these suppressors and really innovate and really dial in the ammo to work with maybe specific cans, which I think could be interesting as well.
Well, how about this idea? Let's take all this energy we have with innovation and suppressors and put it into fucking getting suppressors off the NFA. How about that as a first step, right?
Fair, yeah.
Well said. Well said, Clover. Wow, I can't believe I agreed with him.
Now, Scott says, I wonder if cans come off the NFA, how many will be on the used market? There will be a massive secondary market for suppressors. Absolutely. Once again, you're going to have the guy that gets that $200 suppressor to try it out and see if I like this. Say, I kind of like suppressor game. They go and get that $400, $600, $800 suppressor. They're either going to give that other one to their kid or whatever, or you're going to find it on Facebook Marketplace. Freaking 9mm can for $200 or $150. Or hell yeah. Let's see here.
Dropping facts out there.
Oh, I missed it. What did he say? Hold on. Let me get back over there. G-Webs, interesting fact. You can suppress 9mm. In fact, it gets even louder than it. It's fair. God love it. Gee, you have a link, by the way. Get your ass in here. So
he did a whole 3 hours on SHOT Show earlier today. He shot.
Oh, see, like I said, I was on a road trip today. I have no idea what's going on in the world, so I apologize. Coop says if more people were able to make cans without all the BS, we would see cans get better overnight. That's what Clover was saying. Absolutely. It's not going to be. It's not. No offense to these companies. It's not necessarily going to be the companies that innovate. It's going to be the guy in his garage that says,
"Well, the guy." Here's the beauty: is the guy in the garage innovates.
He's going to make some money selling that patent to
and then he calls up Pappas and goes, "Hey, fucker, guess what I figured out? You want to buy it?"
Yeah, right? And Pappas, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna play negative Nancy on this one. as much as I want to agree with that we'll see cans get better overnight. Look at how
Not
many
overnight.
people
It's going to take some time.
Yeah, well, it's going to take some time. But look about how many people came out with ARs during the 2020 and the 2012 AR rush, and how many of those were shit. We're going to see a bunch of
That's
fly-by-night
part of it,
suppressor
though, man.
We're
companies too.
talking about
It's a part of it,
veteran.
though.
We're not
Absolutely.
talking about, with anything, if you flood the market, you're going to get more bad the same as you get good. What Coop is talking about is the tippy top of the spears, the best of the best is even better.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
what he's talking about.
Yeah.
No, I don't disagree with that. I'm using
You're
generalized
right
terms.
too that the bad comes along with it. You're going to have people building them in their fucking garage, selling them, right? But I got to think.
Can you imagine
and don't
the
get
cool
me
shit
wrong.
you'd see at Wanamaker with cans if that ever happened?
Like I want them off the NFA, and I want them no fucking 4473 because they're not a damn firearm, right? That's
correct.
the world
Well,
I want.
if they come off the NFA, they can't have it for you because it's.
They're going to make them.
I think they'll.
I'm saying they can't legally because it's not but they will. It's going to be serialized.
They'll put them
because you do it now. Yeah,
I get it. I'm
put them under other.
I'm just having a little fun, guys.
That's why you have an other. You know what I mean? Category.
Coop wins. Coop wins.
Oh snap!
Ferrari boy in the house.
What's up, Ferrari boy? Too big for F1. Yes, you. That's great. The four of us know what that is.
Stuck in Alabama with tears rolling down his.
For all those that don't know, Clover's become, quite the SoundCloud.
He's the Puff Daddy of AI music. Ooh, did I say that out loud? I didn't mean to do that.
Oh man, be careful with that.
That's a different Diddy party.
It's a different Diddy party.
Oh.
That'll happen in Vegas soon.
Jacob, I see your question. I got them started. We will get to them. Real quick, Chase, bring you in. We're talking suppressors. I don't know if you've been listening while you're eating or not, but
not at all. I was listening.
So we're talking about suppressor game at SHOT Show, and we were kind of basically said, well, there's not a whole lot you can do at this point until they come off NFA. So do you think that there's going to be any big innovations, or what's the suppressor game going to look like at SHOT this year? If anything different than years past?
I mean, judging from what I saw at NESGW, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of new hotness. I mean, there's some updated variants and things like that, but
yeah,
it's kind of what it's been the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Which is not to say it's anything bad. It's just
there's only so much you can do.
There's only so much you can do, especially with as heavily regulated as that is for how silly that is. But everybody's kind of playing that wait and see game, like seeing how this first bit of the second Trump era goes.
Yeah.
Gulf of America. That's all I'm going to say.
There you go. Let's see here. Scott says, is there one booth that you're excited about? Ginger, we'll start with you on this one.
Normally I'm not excited. There's not one booth I'm excited to go to, but this year I'm actually excited because I have a meeting with Glock at the Glock booth. So I get to go into one of the Glock fancy meeting rooms this year, which I'm kind of excited about because I've never had a chance to do that.
You're such a bitch,
Listen, I know I am. Listen, how
I can get you in a
many
little
years
room
I've
if you
gone to
want.
show. I know you can't. Shut up.
Nah, he's got glow in the dark putt. He can't go to do that kind of room.
Oh, you're right.
He's not allowed to play with the tiny dancer.
Nope.
But no, I've got a couple cool meetings in some cool booths that I have never been into this year. So I'm kind of excited to be able to say that
you're gonna fanboy the fuck out of Glock, aren't you?
Not really. I'm just gonna be excited to be in a meeting room. Listen, Glock's booth is ridiculously large Glock's booth is ridiculously large for no fucking reason.
It's because it's Glock.
It's because they show off. See? You know the reason. It's because they're showing off.
They have to rock out with their Glock out, man. That's how it works.
Rock out with the Glock out, baby.
They've got to have 25 or 30 square foot for every firearm. That's just
this is true. This is true. Yeah. Clove, is there a booth that you're looking forward to seeing?
Not really. Scott asked me that the other night. I was, I don't know, not really. Looking forward to seeing. I mean, there's a couple of booths I'm looking forward to seeing simply because we're going to be there, but we'll talk about that later.
That's absolutely true. For me, that's the thing is I don't go into SHOT saying I can't wait to see this booth. What I can't wait to see is a shit down in the dungeon or wherever it pops up. Now it's over at Caesars or wherever, of companies you've never heard of that's got some cool ass product all of a sudden. That's the cool shit that I look forward to, is finding, I'm not saying that I'm going to find it, but for me, for myself, finding something new that I haven't seen before. That's what I love about
Like
SHOT is doing that.
Like the best booth every year, year in and fucking year out.
Something
The
you just
best
happen to wonder upon.
is one you just happen to fucking, or somebody
what the fuck is that?
Somebody,
You know?
either you stumble into it or somebody tells you about it. That happens too. Like, oh,
and
go
they,
check out
because
my buddy
they
over
stumble.
there or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Chase, obviously, besides EAA, because y'all are going a little bit bigger booth this year, so we got some interesting new toys that you're coming with. But is there anything that you like? Because you've seen a lot of the stuff throughout the year at different shows, especially NASUW, that kind of been recent. But is there anything that, I'll put it this way, I'm not going to put you on the spot and say, what are you looking forward to? Is there something that you've seen that we should know about, or to go to a booth that you think that, like, hey, I'm just saying I saw some cool stuff last month or whatever, you might want to go check out this stuff?
Well, I saw some stuff recently, but we can't talk about it here, that you'll probably want to check out.
Okay.
Everybody will know about it come like the 20th, 21st. But,
right.
I enjoy getting out and seeing their stuff because, I'm a gun nerd anyway, so I got buddies all over the industry, and I like guns in general, so I like walking around checking stuff out when I can. I'll be pretty excited to go by the SIG booth for giggles and see my buddies and say hey, and I might even do an impromptu interview just because Mike can't.
Just because you can, and Mike's been banned from SIG,
Yeah,
that's fair.
I got it covered. Don't worry.
I think I passed Mike today on our road trip today. He was swerving in the right hand lane and taking out cars. That's got to be Mike. It was a Swift truck. Yeah, it was definitely a Swift truck, and I was like, that's got to be Mike.
He's a Swiftie, but we're not talking about Taylor.
Yeah,
Scott out there was talking about
the Smith & Wesson booth, and that Smith & Wesson's always got a nice area.
It's a nice booth.
Yeah.
They've got the most comfortable carpet.
Yeah, all the guys that don't go to SHOT don't understand is it's not that like Smith's booth particularly fancy or Beretta or Glock. They're massive, but they're big open spaces.
Huge. Yeah.
They've got some little meeting rooms, and some of them are 2-tier and all that, but it's just...
I think they're great to cut corners, so you just cut through their booth, which is fantastic.
Oh, yeah, like if your feet are hurting, go stand on Smith's like double pad and like extra thick carpet for a few minutes. You'll feel better. So forever, and to this day, the doors that I usually go in and out of into the main floor, it's over there by the Smith booth. So forever, like for me, the Smith booth has meant a lot. Because the Smith was my anchor on my map. Like no matter where I am in the main floor, and I don't get turned around very often. I'm pretty good with navigation, but if I ever do get like turned around in the main floor, as long as I can find the Smith booth, I can get out of the main floor. So for me, the Smith booth has always been special to me, only because it's there by the door that I want to go in and out of. So
it's interesting. I got a call today. And I won't mention who it was.
By the way, Wes, you could definitely take a nap on the Smith carpet. It is comfortable, thick carpet. I'll give them that.
We double passed you because of that. Just saying.
They were asking me about the SHOT Show app, which is garbage, by the way. It's always been garbage.
Garbage.
I'm like, I never really have used it. I try to use it occasionally if I need to pull up a booth number, but it takes
that's
like
all I use it for. Is like, what is the booth number? That's all I use it for is a booth
number.
But
it takes like 5 tries to open it. It's it fucking sucks, right? And so, he was like, to navigate, blah, 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 blah. I think this dude's been to SHOT like twice. And I'm like, that's one of the things that I have learned my anchors and just everything so much that I
You
can
just have
fly
to know
through the floor
where
like I just.
booths are, and you base your navigation off of certain booths,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yep. Uh-huh.
That's
Yep.
just the way. That's how I roll. I mean,
Yeah, I can
but
get
it
through it
works
really
for
easily
me.
now.
But it works for me. Is if I say that the Smith booth for me, for my personal internal map, is ground zero, then I can figure out from there, right? Or you go down on the other end and you've got, Winchester or whatever, some of these massive booths, and say, okay, if I come in from that direction, that's going to be my anchor. But to get out, I've got to get down to Smith because that's the door that I want to get out of to go back up to media room or wherever. So, yeah.
Booths, all you need
Wes,
is your booths by the doors, right? Once you have your booths by the doors, you're good.
You're good. That's it.
All you got to really
Wes,
remember to be across from the Smith booth at about 4 p.m. because that's where Leopold starts doing the free keggers.
Oh, the booth beer. Yeah. The booth beer for sure. Yeah.
Wes, I've
Go
never
ahead,
taken
Ginger.
a nap in this. I've never taken a nap in the Smith booth, but I've taken a nap in the Voodoo Tactical booth, and it's pretty soft carpet too. We were waiting on our crates the one year, so I took a nap in the Voodoo booth.
They would be absolutely shocked to know what we pay for that carpet.
All right, we're gonna get away from the shot questions. Wes, I get your question here earlier from Star, but I'm gonna go to Jacob's real quick. This looks like it's a 3-part question. First question: Do any of y'all browse online firearms auctions? So yeah, I'm on. I mean, I think we all can pretty much say
all
that,
the time.
Yeah, we're checking all sorts of stuff at all times, just to see, if for no other reason, is see what the going prices for some of the stuff is, right?
Yeah.
Even if you're going to go buy something at the gun shop, I'm going to go over and check some of the auction places that will tell you what the average sold, not what they want, but the sold auctions went for. And that'll get an idea of what they're technically worth at that point, right? So, yeah. You guys, I'm assuming everyone kind of browses auctions, right?
Yeah. Number one is
gun
always,
broker or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Gun Broker, Guns America, guns.com. Check them all. Keep an eye on all that.
Yeah.
Number one is always. Number two is rarely. And number three is always.
So number 2 is, have you ever picked up firearms from said auction? Yes. 3, have you ever seen a firearms auction run for only a week?
I've seen them run for
I've seen them run for 2 days sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen them run for a few hours. I mean, it just depends on what it is.
Yeah.
Now, I've seen some run for a month too, when it was some really ridiculous rare stuff, or some specialty NFA transferable stuff like that.
Yeah, but I've seen them run for 2 days, a day, 24 hours. I think the week is probably the average. Honestly, I think it's probably the default. Honestly,
I would say it's definitely the week is definitely the average. I see that often.
Yeah. But I don't know. Let's go back. Thank you for that, Jacob. Hope we answered your question. Wes brings up, what are some things that you all would like to see come out of SHOT? So SHOT, for I tell you what, and I'm gonna expand on this next week, because SHOT's gonna be different for me this year. But I tell you what, I'm looking forward to seeing come out of SHOT is it's gonna sound weird. And Chase, you'll know what I mean, and everyone in this room knows that the last couple years, so COVID and the year after, 20 and 2021 were amazing years for the firearm industry, and then it hit a fucking cliff, right? And so 2024, I think people say, was one of the worst in the last 20 years of the worst years for gun sales. So when I say this, I'm not looking for specific products. I'm not looking for specific things. I really hope that with inauguration happening on range day, that's going to set aside the rest of SHOT Show week for being cool. I'm really looking for good vibes at SHOT. and I'm really looking for maybe some hope that the industry is going to get a rebound year. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but that's what I really want. I know everyone in the industry has had a brutal year in 2024, right? It's been brutal. And I'm just hoping that the vibe is back for this SHOT Show with a little bit of hope that 2025 will be better. I don't think it can get any worse, but that's what I'm looking for at a SHOT is the vibe. I want a really good vibe this year. What are you guys looking for? I don't care. Go ahead and jump in.
I was gonna say, I mean, obviously that, but like, because I was just at a wholesaler show.
Yeah. By the way, if you're allowed to talk about that, how was the vibe there?
So that's what I was going to say. As far as the dealers were concerned, the guys actually, dealing with the customers, like dealing with the guys who are listening to you and, dealing with us on that side of it, the dealers themselves are actually all pretty upbeat this year.
Good.
So as far as starting the year off, nobody was like gloom and doom or any of that. People were kind of upbeat. Business was okay. Business was picking up. They're doing better. Everybody was upbeat. Like the show itself was, I mean, other than the fact that it was in New Orleans and you had that hanging over your head, the show itself was upbeat. Like people were, more or less pretty happy to be there.
That's good. That's good to hear. Because here's the thing. If the dealers are upbeat, then the wholesalers and the manufacturers will probably be more upbeat, because if the dealers are upbeat, they'll probably be buying more guns. So let's hope. Ginger, Clover, what are you guys looking to see out of SHOT? Either products or vibes or whatever the hell it is.
I'm looking for a good vibe.
Obviously, GOA's probably got some stuff that they're looking out of SHOT as well, though.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking for a good vibe. From a GOA perspective, we're looking for a good vibe. We're looking for good partners, people to go, look, national reciprocity might make a dent on everything. If we get rid of the GCA, that'll make a dent. If we get rid of suppressors, that'll make a dent. Those are some of my big talking points going into SHOT for GOA. But as a consumer, the vibe, like if the vibe is good and things, the other thing I want to see is more, and we've seen it the last couple of years, and Chase has been one of the leaders, and EIA has been one of the leaders in this. I want to see more really good sub $400 guns come out this year, because we know that the price, people don't have a ton of money. The more good budget friendly guns that come out this year, the better it is in my opinion, better it is for the industry, because people are still pinching their pennies and doing stuff. If we see more of that stuff come out, and more of those budget friendly guns come out and hit the market, that'd be really good for the market. The other thing I'm really hoping to see, and I guess this kind of leans into, I'm going to throw lever guns into this a little bit, because we're seeing this with G-Force and the budget friendly lever guns, but also I want to see more retro stuff. I want to see more, like I want to see an M1 carbine, an M1 Garand, a Luger, a Bren 10, something cool.
An updated Luger would be so awesome.
Yeah. Like things from those things, those retro things that, just are fun. I want to see more fun products. It doesn't always have to be the most innovative, most cool thing. I want fun guns to come back to the market. So
that's a great point. I think, that's a good way of putting it. Fun guns, whatever they are. Fun guns. Absolutely. Yeah. Chloe, what about you? What are you looking to see?
I would like to see some of our friends, some of our 2A warriors and their great organizations and stuff come out of SHOT with fucking funding for their projects to get suppressors off the NFA and shit that we need to get done. That's what I'd like to see. Yeah, I'd like to see some of those people have a little more success in what they're doing.
I think they're having success, but if they got more exposure, absolutely, they would create more success.
Well, they're not getting the funding.
They're not getting the funding, which would help the exposure, which would help them more, right? Absolutely.
We know. Think about the gun tubers that can walk into SHOT and get $30,000 per video deals. Now think about a Tony Simon with just $30,000, not a multi-video deal at 30,000 per video, but just a check for 30 grand. Think about what
it would
Tony could
change
accomplish,
everything what Tony could do.
right?
Yeah.
You know, or whoever. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I actually talked to him twice yesterday, but I was on the phone with Sedini for quite a while yesterday, a couple different times, and Mike's done a great job with Walk the Talk America, obviously.
Yeah.
But Mike will even tell you that there are, I said, what it is? He goes, you know what? Like, there are other projects. Obviously, we need stuff to help out with Walk the Talk America. Obviously, we always need help. It always needs this, that, and the other. He said, but there are so many other people doing so many awesome things that I can't like be upset where I am. Like as much as I say, yeah, we need this, and the other. Like where I am, this is him talking. Where I am, there are people that would kill to be in my position. And so that's true.
Yeah, so Scott
like Devin would be a great one to get funded. Tony would be a great one to get funded.
Yeah. So Scott out there says, I think the industry needs to step up. I think
they know that.
I appreciate Scott saying that, but I think that what Scott is saying, I think every single firearms owner, customer needs to be saying that and demanding that of the companies that they buy from. And I think you would see more of that, right? Sadly, they don't.
Here's what I want to say, because this has been a focus of mine going into 2025. You, me, Chase, most of the people in this chat are not the average gun owner. Let's be honest. We are not the average gun owner. My focus and my goal for GOA and I think across the board for not just the industry, but for gun rights, is we need to activate the guy who owns a pistol, a shotgun, a rifle, and get them to activate and bring those average gun owners into the fold. Because the more those average gun owners know, the more they're in the fold, the more dangerous we can be. The problem is the average gun owner, you think of it like
they don't give a shit.
If you think of like if Clover was just Clover owning a shotgun for bird hunting and home defense, does Clover care about AR-15s?
Not one bit.
Does Clover care about suppressors?
Not one bit.
No, but if I can,
he doesn't even care about 2A. To be honest with you,
yeah,
he just wants to have his rifle. He wants to have his shotgun and shoot his birds.
Damn it! Don't hush. This is live. What the fuck?
We just pulled. Like I said earlier tonight, I said we're pulling the curtain back tonight, baby.
You're messing up my grip, man. Quit it.
But if I can get Clover to activate, if I can get him to become a GOA member, if I can convert those average gun owners into GOA members and convert them over to being and teaching them how to be more politically active, or how to, hey, your shotgun for bird hunting, yeah, as of right now, there's no attacks on it, but listen, there's attacks on bird hunting. There's attack on lead ammo. There's attacks on things that attack you. We got to find a better way to bring those people into the fold. And I think that is a main focus for me for 2025 and GOA and everybody else.
I get where you're coming from, John. And you're coming from the GOA side, and I get this. This is no offense to the GOA. Love you. GOA is way fucking better than NRA and like got you. But you guys are on the protect shall not be infringed, fucking fight the power, keep government fucking out of our shit. You guys are like the fucking overlords or what. I don't know. You guys are like the major fucking generals and shit, right? The problem that I see in this country, and I think you would agree with my assessment here, right? The problem that I see in this country is on a social, societal fucking level. And we've got to make changes. And that's what you're alluding to in a way here, is you've got to make changes on that social, societal level before folks support the GOA and join the fight, the big fights, right? From legislative, from anti-gun bills and things like that. We've got to have the social fight. And the people that are geared up to best fight, the warriors that we've got to fight that social fight, are the Tony Simons, are the Chris Chings, are the Brooke Cheneys, are the Sarah Joys, right? The Sedinis. Those people are the social change fucking people. that gets that one firearm owning person paying attention. They're the people that are able to reach those people and start moving them in the right direction. The problem is the GOA is this big thing. Like everybody, and I'm not saying everybody knows the GOA, but you get what I'm saying. It's a huge organization that's been around forever, that sort of thing, right? People are aware. The hardened warriors that we have that can fucking get the job done, they just need the funding to be able to do it, right? Like nobody knows about them.
Well, yeah, and I don't disagree with that at all. The big thing is think of the average gun owner, and again, I'm gonna say this out loud. It's like, think of the average gun owner. You're absolutely right. This is 100% social switch. But how many people are an NRA member because their daddy was an NRA member and their friend was an NRA member in this?
And that's where the NRA fails, right? But that's where the NRA fails, right? But here's my thing: you're trying to convert people that, and you fail. What you're failing to realize is they're with the NRA because of a social element, and you're wanting them to switch to GOA, but they're lacking for a political element, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we need is and this is totally my opinion, but it's a baby step process that ultimately gets them to the GOA, sure. But we need our frontline 2A people out there that are making the societal changes to be able to reach those people and then move them into the GOA.
Yeah. I think where it comes down to is the people that are already going to be members of GOA and all these organizations. And let's just be honest, the people that we know, they're not just, no offense, but they're not just members of just GOA. They're members of GOA, probably NRA, FPC, Second Amendment Foundation, and all that. I'm not, but the vast majority of those frontline guys are going to be single issue voters, right? Which want the political change also, because the social goes along with political. The vast majority are going to be one, maybe two issue voters, right? 2A and maybe something else. When they go to the voting booths, it's going to be one or two, at maximum 3 issue voters. I personally am a multi-issue voter. That's just how I am. But what you're talking about is taking someone, the one shotgun guy, right? Let's say they've got 5 issues that they care about. Well, that single gun owner right there, the 2A is either number 5 on the list, if it even makes the list. Okay. So I think what we need to start talking about is not how do we convert them from this organization to this organization. I know what you're saying, John, and I'm not trying to put you guys down, but ultimately you guys need memberships to keep the doors open. It's a membership drive. I get it, but convert them from this organization to this organization or whatever. Before you can convert them to even know who the hell you are, we've got to change their minds on saying, look, we're not saying you have to be a single issue voter in November's. But what we would like for you to see is maybe either add it to your list, if it's probably not on your list, if you're that single shotgun owner or whatever, either add it to your issue list to consider when voting, or let's bump it up from number 6 to number 3 in your list. Because once it becomes a more of a priority in their lives, then they start opening their eyes on the GOA and all these other organizations. They're not going to know who you are, much less give a shit what you do, if the 2A is not a priority in anything that they do politically.
Well, and you've got to have members. How do I word this? You've got to have members that will answer your call to action, right? There's so many people out there now that it's like, oh, like the NRA, or maybe it's GOA. I mean, you can't deny this either, that it's the same as the people that fucking vote. They walk into that fucking voting booth, they pull the handle, check the box, and I've done my part, and then they think they're fucking done,
right?
Yep.
It's the same thing that happens with GOA or NOA. They pay those fucking yearly dues or whatever, and they're done. GOA's
They
fighting the fight.
expect you to go sit QA. Yeah.
The problem is you guys are putting out calls to action all the time, right? Call your
They don't
fucking
do it.
senators, get on that ass of the governor and this, that, and the other, right? And if people would be active and do that, you guys would be more effective, correct?
Well, that's what I'm saying is
But
people
the
need to
thing
either
is-
add the 2A to their issue list or bump it up to where it is something relevant that they will do something about.
But but I think rather than trying to just siphon over fuddy-duddy fucking NRA members into the organization, if our groundswell smaller organizations working on a societal level could bring in those people, it would create more of a sense of community urgency, activism, that sort of thing, that then it's pushed up to GOA. And then when you guys put out the calls to action, you've got actually active, involved members, and that makes you guys more effective.
Yeah. So
No,
here's
I
the thing. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with what both of you guys are saying. What we have at GOA is, and Artak put it correctly, we need more young people. GOA has one of the youngest membership bases out there. That's
why most of the people doing your podcasts and all of a sudden doing social media are younger people. That's a smart deal. That's a smart thing.
The thing with GOA, and I guess it's because who we are the watchdog, we are the loud voice on the hill, is we get the politically driven people. And Clover's right, and I'm saying both of you guys are right. I just want to, it's not trying to get the fuddy-duddies in. It's trying to get the uneducated, not uneducated is the wrong term, the unactivated gun owner, the one gun owner, the average gun owner, bring them into the funnel and teach them how to be more active in the 2A and change their mind and become more of those voters.
My point.
That is my goal for the year.
Yeah. My point
I get what you're both saying.
You guys are wonderful at what you do at fighting the fight, right? And I see that as when you've got all of these lower tier elements that are perfectly fucking suited to do exactly what you're talking about, which is bring in and activate the people, right? If there was more support for those little organizations bringing in and activating the people, you guys wouldn't have to worry about that. You just siphon up the activated members and you're good to go. You focus on the calls to action and fighting the legislation and the lawsuits and the power. And like, you don't have to spend time and resources on that. It would make GOA more lean and efficient. You see what I'm saying?
No, I don't disagree with that. The thing that I have to worry about, and I see where you guys are saying, but the other thing that I have to take into consideration when I'm talking about bringing in this funnel and bringing in more members from the average gun owner and activating them, the other thing I have to say is the more members we have, the more power. The more power is the wrong word. The more pull we have when we go to Congress.
Perceptive power, yes,
maybe, yeah.
That's what the NRA. That's what the NRA held over the people in Washington's head. Is at any given time we have a $5 million people mailing list that we can activate any election we want. That scared people. Could they activate those 5 million people? No, because those are all people that don't give a fuck. They're just paying their dues. Yeah. But the fact that they had a 5 million people list scared politicians because 5 million people wins or loses elections, So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to try to bring it. GOA's mission is to also teach people and teach them on the 2A. If I can figure out how to bring them into the fold and teach them, that's the great. And I get what Clover's saying. Get it the smaller.
That's great, yeah. But the problem you're running into, John, is that the only way you do that is the GOA hires Tony Simon and Brooke Cheney and all these people. And here's why. We're all individuals. And you mentioned this earlier. This guy has a shotgun. This chick, single mom has a revolver in her nightstand drawer or whatever, right? The one gun people. They're all different people,
right? And they all have those guns they got those guns for different reasons. They all have different walks of life. And so you've got to have the variety of, I don't know how to put this, but the variety of people to draw them in. Messengers, maybe, is the word. You got to have the variety of messengers to put out the 2A in a way that resonates with them for them to even fucking be interested in the first place. If you just preach rights and shall not be infringed and this is how this law affects you and blah 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 blah, yeah, I mean, on a big level, yeah, but down to their personal life, it affecting them, like, it's hard for the GOA, the organizational structure, at least that I see with it, it's hard for them to accomplish that goal. And I think that's where you get the most loyal of members.
So
No, I don't agree with that.
You can say what you want, you can think what you want, and that's fine. I'm going to put a statement out there that I believe is true, and you can not believe that or whatever. Kind of piggybacking what Clover's saying to a certain extent, the best thing the NRA ever did was hire Coleon Noir. You can say what you want to about Coleon. You can say what you want to about any of that stuff. The best decision they ever made is they put a young, educated black man's face with the NRA. That opened the floodgates for the NRA. Not saying that GOA needs to do that, but the GOA, I'm just going to, and I love you, bro. The GOA has, in my opinion, has questionable taste with who they like to associate with. You need to go find someone that's legitimate, that can bring in people. If you're going to hire someone, bring in someone that is 100% legitimate that can bring them in. Like Coleon brought in people to the NRA that they never thought would come to the NRA.
And you wouldn't even have to bring them in, right? Just collaborative efforts would be enough. And
you
that's
don't have to hire them like NRA did. Yeah, you don't have to do what they did with NRA. But associate yourself with certain people.
That's sort of the road.
Massive movements.
And this is not, by the way, for anybody watching or listening, this is not Ginger's forte with the GOA.
Oh yeah, no. We're just giving it because we want GOA to succeed.
That's not why this conversation's happening, but it just kind of organically went here. But a collaboration could be no money involved or anything, right? Yeah. And it would be very easy to collaborate with a Brooke Cheney or a Tony Simon or Sarah Joy or whoever on some little campaign or some little something, right? Put something together. And that's what I'm saying, right? Like, it doesn't have to be, I think the industry needs to fucking step up with all these little organizations for sure. But from the GOA standpoint, I'm not advocating that the GOA hire them or anything like that.
I'm just saying that if the NRA, the best thing they did in the last decade was Coleon, right?
I would agree.
It was a huge thing for them. And I'm not saying that, John and Eric and all these people need to hire someone, but we're talking about activating people. Coleon activated people. 100%. He activated people.
I think he still is.
Oh, 100% he is. But I'm saying, like, initially when he first started working with NRA, he activated people and brought them to NRA. And talking about activating, they need a familiar face that can activate them, right? They need someone and to activate them, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be a gun YouTuber or whatever.
But it has to be the right person.
Go find a celebrity that's very pro-gun, that's willing to stand up and say something and say, hey, you're one of your concerts. Do you mind saying, or whatever? But like, you talk about the activation. Activation has to come fast and hard, and that's how you get them activated.
I would say I would make the argument that one of the biggest, and maybe even at the time he was working at them, the biggest gun channel on the internet, Hickok, right? Yeah. We all know Hickok and his ties with the NRA. I would say he did the least out of anybody that they tapped to activate. Now, did he bring on members? I think there's no doubt he brought on members.
Yeah, he brought the demographic that we're talking about is the guys just pay the dues and don't give a shit. That's who he brought.
But as far as activating, I think he did very little to activate, right?
Yeah.
And so that's my thing, is there's a big, huge difference. And I don't think you need huge celebrity. I don't think you need a lot of money and an employee. But I do think there are certain elements that can be tapped to bring in the active members.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with anything you guys are saying at all.
Yep. I want you guys to succeed. We probably need you guys to succeed.
Fuck, at this point, like if something happened to GOA, we'd be double fucked.
Yeah, I mean, right now, the two organizations that, whether people want to believe it or not, it's the truth. The two organizations that the 2A is leaning on as crutches on each side of the body is FPC and GOA.
Yep.
FPC, if you guys aren't, no offense, we're going to let Ginger talk about GOA, but I'm going to throw this out there. If you are not aware of who the Firearms Policy Coalition is, you need to go educate yourself and start supporting FPC in any way possible. Talking about these dudes are fearless and don't give a shit.
Prisoner.
No prisoners whatsoever. And like I said, you've got one on each side.
To the
GOA
point.
right now, it's GOA and FPC are holding us up right now. So if you're out there listening to this later on down the road, educate yourself, activate yourself, and start spreading the word.
FPC to the point that sometimes I see the shit they post and I cringe. Like it makes me fucking uncomfortable. But that's how you activate.
That's
right?
how you. That's exactly.
You,
you cringe because you're already activated.
Yeah.
But for someone else, that's how they get activated.
Yep. Yeah. If I wasn't activated rather than cringing, I would probably activate. You're right.
Absolutely, you would. Yeah.
But
yeah,
I'm like,
absolutely.
ooh, that was rough.
Yeah. Love those guys. And you guys at GOA are doing phenomenal work. And here's the thing.
FPC is more the executors, right? Whereas
yeah, absolutely.
Whereas GOA is more the strategist.
Yeah, the GOA is going to be kind of the mastermind and helping out with certain it, but FPC are going to be the ones that are actually in the courtroom saying "fuck you." I object, motherfucker.
Ginger alluded to that, but GOA is also the influence at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they're the. I mean, let's just be honest. They're the big stick right now.
Yeah.
They're the big.
Well, we are the only, and I can say this for a fact, we are the only gun rights organization with lobbyists that actually work for us who are actually on the Hill. They're not an outside hired group. Our lobbyists work in our office and are on the Hill every single day.
Yeah. And y'all are expanding. You're doing a lot of things, and it's not going to happen overnight. It's not. I think what we saw this year. I think he's asleep. He's only had a few hours sleep the last couple of days.
I'm alive. I was letting y'all go.
He's one of them guys.
Do you want to jump in the deep end with this and drown, or do you want to let this one go?
I mean, I'll jump in a minute. Don't worry.
Okay. All right. Oh shit, we're getting ready to get hairy here. Stand by for the standby.
Okay.
No, I think what a lot of it has to come down to is what we saw this year. Brings back my faith in humanity a little bit, because there were a lot of younger people that you just assumed were all going to vote left this year, and there was a lot of them that didn't. And I think that there, as much as we talk about this generation and how god awful this next generation is going to be when they're running things, there is still a large contingency of this younger generation, and my daughter's included in that, and Clover's daughters and that kids are included in that. That I'm not saying they're left or right, but I'm saying is they aren't the lost generation. They're still able to succeed in life, and they're able to think for themselves, and they're okay. They're not listening to what other people say and say, well, that's what I think too. No, they're able to think about things. And I think that the younger generations, which is what you guys are going for, the GOA, the great thing is I don't think that's a lost generation. There's still a lot of younger people that believe in free. They may not be pro-gun, but they're not anti-gun, but they're pro-freedom, or they're pro-constitution. And you get them in that funnel, right? As you say, you get them in that funnel, and we start talking about different things. There's a lot of different ways. They don't necessarily have to be pro-gun, but they have to be pro-freedom. And maybe that's a way you get them into the funnel is, look, we're not looking for just gun owners. We're called Gun Owners of America, but we don't care if you own guns. But if you're willing to help support us, retain your freedoms in case you ever do want to own a gun, we're your group. So there's always different ways, but this young generation isn't lost. And I was very happy to see the demographic breakdown of the election. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like that 18 to 30-year-old generation, like they supported Trump a lot more than I thought they would, you know?
So I have years of decades, right, of working with the youths, right? And I'm on the record many times, Ghost, you know this, with the Next Generation podcast and a lot of other things. You've probably heard me say this. The regular viewers and watchers out there have heard it. I have never dogged on or dissed the younger generations like a lot of people do. All these fucking young kids, I've never, because I've understood. I've been around them, and I'm like, they are primed. They have what it takes to be great, liberty, freedom-minded, productive members of fucking society. We just have to be patient and let them grow into that. And part of them growing into that is going to be stupidity, mistakes, and rebellious phases, right? And so
how many of us were liberal leaning maybe when we were younger?
Right.
That's what we knew.
I was about to say that exactly the same thing.
Is the hardened, shall I be in French liberty person doesn't have the tolerance to understand that generation they're dogging on is going to go through those phases. It's okay. We just have to guide. We have to be the examples as the older generations, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they'll fucking get there. Well, I think we learned in this election, guess what? They fucking got there.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
They're a lot closer. Yeah.
For the GOA, for organizations large and small, all organizations, not even 2A, all freedom and liberty-minded organizations, no matter what we're talking about, you're going to have to strike, and you're going to have to strike hard this year. I think the window is limited. We had a great election. We seen what younger generations
are going to be huge.
We seen how it shifted, but I think we've got to strike while the iron's hot. I think if we just sit back and we think, oh, it's all okay, everybody's shifting over, we've got to, as John was saying, we've got to now. We've seen that they're within our grasp.
Yeah.
Now we got to activate them.
Yep, I agree. Chase, jump in the deep end, homie.
Well, I mean, we were already kind of hitting on that stuff right there. The younger generation, because I mean, I talk to them all the time. You know, I've got younger kids. That young first-time voter, first-time gun owner age group, they all just learn the hard way what their paychecks look like.
Right. Yeah.
And are like, that's not how I want to live my life. That's not how I want to do this, that. And you saw that in the way the voting went. But
I'll never forget my oldest daughter's first paycheck. It was so hilarious.
Who the hell is FICA?
You probably went through that too, right? She got her paycheck and she was so pissed. She's like, "What the fuck? Like 40% of my money's gone." Or like, "Welcome to adulthood."
Welcome to being an adult, kid.
Yeah, it hurts every time you see it. But the thing is, like, people put the onus on, the big gun companies and things like the GOA, like FEC, like NRA, all the legacy institutions. It comes down to the individual. If you want stuff to change, you got to get involved at that local level. You got to get your local stuff under control. You got to get your county, your state. That's where that stuff changes.
Yep.
You're seeing this groundswell in places like California. That gives everybody hope. I mean, we're selling a pile of California compliant guns out there right now because you got a 40 million person population, and more than half of those people aren't crazy. It's just the populous centers control that. You've got to get that under control. You've got to get your state right to make that big difference. And that's what everybody's got to understand is you have to affect the change. You can't just write a check and expect it to happen. That's not how that works.
Mm-hmm.
That's an old generation way of thinking. The boomers that talk smack about anybody Gen X down, how we're all useless. It doesn't matter. They've all had that mentality of, stuff just gets taken care of if you throw money at it. And that's just not how it works.
Yep. No, 100%. This is a conversation. It's a much bigger conversation than an hour, right? It's a conversation that needs to be had on multiple levels with multiple different types of people in multiple arenas. But I think ultimately it comes down to, there's more that should be done. and there's a lot more that could be done, and there's a lot more that will be done, whether it's individually, with organizations, with companies, and all that. And I'm not throwing the industry under the bus. I'm not doing that.
No, the industry sucks at it. Let's be honest.
But the elephant in the room, but the elephant in the room is two things. One, the industry does suck at it, right? It does.
Yeah.
As a whole,
worst enemy on
as a
stuff.
whole, yes. But two, understand this also. The industry, it's a business. The industry as a whole, not individual companies, but as a whole, the industry is better when there's a threat on gun rights.
Yeah,
That's the reality of it, folks. That's the reality of it, folks.
People are definitely going to relax because they have Trump and Republicans in control, and you're not going to get the push you need to have while you can affect change. And that's what people need to understand.
That's it.
This is the time to be on the offensive. This is the time for the blitzkrieg, the shock and awe. Like,
but don't wait for someone else to lead that fight. You got to have to lead that fight.
Exactly.
The conversation I've had with a lot of these smaller, 2A activists and stuff, wonderful projects they've got going and everything else, and I have this conversation often, is that, you look at it, and this all got started me talking about, I would like to see, going to SHOT Show. That was the question. What I'd like to see these smaller organizations, smaller activists get, $30,000, check. Like,
and that's not from one person. That's maybe 10 different companies doing $3,000 checks.
But here's the thing, there's skin on their part too. So while we dog the industry, I know this for a fact because I've had these in-depth conversations with these activists. They're not approaching the industry in the right way, exactly because of what you say, Ghost and Chase, that the industry is a business. Mm-hmm. So while, yes, they may want to help out the 2A, they've also got to monitor and take care of their bottom fucking line. So a lot of these smaller activists and stuff need to tailor their approach to these companies for support in a way where they're offering something back as well. They're offering some type of exposure. They're offering some type of advertising. They're offering some type of reach. And all too often what I see is them walking into a booth. This is a hypothetical, but them walking into a booth and holding out a plate and going, "Please, sir, can I have some more?" Like, just put fucking money. Like, I'm Tony Simon, 2A4E, give me some money, bitch. And I mean, that's exaggerated. Tony, obviously, he probably would say that to some companies, but
some companies 100% he would, yes.
yeah. But you get what I'm saying. Like, that's not the approach. You need to go in and go, "Hey, here's my project, and this is our ultimate goal. We would like you to join us, with this mission. And in return, here's what you're going to get," right? And that's a much more effective approach than, "Hey, give me a bunch of money so I can go do my thing."
Yeah, no, 100%. It's got to be a give and take from multiple flanks. So.
Yeah, it's kind of like I told Ginger earlier, right? Collaborations is what we need. Collaborations.
Yeah, and that's a much more palatable way of doing things on the business side of the industry.
Yep.
Well, it's also much different as far as expenses and write-offs too, right? The accounting side as well.
From the bottom line stuff, yeah. I mean, like,
like, if you don't want to get pinned as a company, you're afraid of, let's just say you're afraid, and I don't think you should be, let's just say you're afraid of a liberal element, right? Right? Of an anti-gun, let's say, political agenda. That's an advertising expense, right?
Yeah. I mean, you look at, and I'm not going to say a company. Let's just say that XYZ company in the industry, right, spends, let's just throw a number of, they spend $500,000 on advertising, right, or marketing. And they've got, there you go. Fantastic, Chase. Yes. And that $500,000 is spread out through different things, print media and gun tubers and podcast sponsorships and this, that, and the other, right? All of it. And I'm not talking about marketing and advertising like for like shows. It's just like what you guys are going to spend on advertising. And if every company in the industry were to set aside $1,000 a year, that's nothing to these people. $1,000 for a small 2A activist or organization, right? And let's say there's 1,000 of these companies. Well, that's $1 million a year. How much would $1 million a year go towards 25,000 here, 25,000 here, $500,000, 100,000 here? All of these different little organizations that are getting maybe $25,000, but one company's not responsible for the whole $1 million. It's 1,000 companies at $1,000. That could be awesome too.
So, is it possible? And I'm spitballing again, Ginger. This is not. One day, maybe you're the head of the GOA. That'd be kind of fucking sweet.
God help us all.
Probably not for you.
No.
But anyway,
come on, Kaylee.
No. Kaylee will be the head of the GOA before me.
Probably. Yeah, probably. That's fair. But is it possible, because you talk about, a bigger organization, right? If you've got bigger organizations, could there be a situation, and again, this is a total hypothetical. I'm not going down the road of official GOA position here. And Ghost and Chase, I mean, this is just a thought that popped in my head. Could there be some type of, because of the influence of the bigger influence and connections of a bigger organization, could there be some type of an effort for them to put together a fund for then which grants can be applied to for the smaller 2A activists? Like, I mean, we've been using Tony, so we'll continue to use Tony, right? Is that any type of, do you think that's a plausible scenario of sorts?
It is. It is a plausible scenario through our foundation. I mean, there's a lot of things that we can do through our foundation to start doing those things. The issue we have right now is we're just not getting enough funds into the foundation to be able to do that type of outreach. So it's a two-way street. We need.
But
to
are you guys? I get it.
Out.
Okay, so I didn't know that, right? So I learned
Yeah.
something new that was available to. Let's just, again, we'll use Tony. So if Tony hit you up, first of all, Tony has to be aware, and again, he may already be, right? I'm just saying. But first of all, Tony has to be aware that exists, right? But then, assuming Tony is aware that exists, he can then utilize that in a collaborated effort with you guys, maybe to get more funds into that coffer, right? That then he can apply for.
Yeah, and in
other words,
again,
you're farming out, or you're offering your influence, is what I'm saying. Is there a scenario in which GOA could offer their influence in a collaborative effort, of course, for the proven 2A activists, right? Not some fly-by-nighter or anything crazy like that. And I think Tony's well established. But to be able to collaborate, to then approach brands, to then add money to that, it sounds stupid in a way, because like, well, if Tony's going to do that, why can't Tony just approach that brand and get a check himself? Well, if that fucking worked, Tony would already have his needs met, right? There's a component missing, and maybe the influence of a big organization like the GOA, maybe that would be a catalyst, right? That would help make that support and everything happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of ways that can go about. It can go through the foundation. It can go through the GOA main. We just need to figure out a way. That's a big thing that with collaboration, we as an organization have to figure out to get. Tony does events and all the time. I just have to get our state rep to be there to talk to people, to get signups, to
Right.
collaborate, to help with Tony. I mean, there's a number of things that could happen. It's just it comes down to the conversation that has to be had. Hence why Tony's doing a meet and greet this year. That's why I'm having him come by the booth to talk to these people. You know, there's a number of things like that that need to happen.
Right. So goals, right? Let's shift into goals for a second. Was there, and there was so many
Sure.
components to goals, right? But with goals, was there a component where there was people with GOA available for an hour in a meeting room somewhere or whatever it was to have these types of discussions, what we're talking about now, with the grassroots 2A people?
Oh yeah, we did state meetups every day.
No, not state meetups, but with the grassroots 2A activists themselves to focus around that point.
Yeah, that's part of the state meetup, the state thing.
Okay.
That's part of the grassroots.
Part of that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because the state
Yeah,
meetup
that's a better
sounds
thing.
like it's just people for that state to go and talk to their state director, and that's what that sounds like, rather than grassroots 2A activism for the state.
Well, and that's something we're working on for 25 too, to make it sound more like,
right, just
hey,
the
this is
delivery, right? Just the pitch,
the
pitch of the
delivery.
delivery. Tweaking it. Yeah. Right, I got you. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, you can have your show back, Ghost.
I appreciate
So
it.
Ghost, Shot Show.
Back to Shot Show.
Jesus Christ.
We went
And
down
that-
this heavy 2A fucking road, man. Like,
All right, so
And this delay
Chase and
was
I are
brought
going
by
to go live
John
on
again.
the Comfortably Dumb channel while Clover and John figure out what the fuck is wrong with GOA. So, just kidding. No.
De-elect time, kids. Let's go.
hey, we solved the fucking 2A tonight, bitch. What are you concerned about? We've got suppressors off the NFA. We did that early.
Lars and
Knocked
SPS.
that out
Yep,
quick.
yep.
That was easy.
Mhm.
Now we
I mean,
fixed the 2A.
Let's just get to the bottom of it. I mean, Deedle Dick already resigned, so let's just go ahead and get rid of the ATF and be done with it.
There you go.
And then that way we just solve all the problems right there, done and over. All gun laws are infringements.
I cringe when I hear people saying that they want Brandon to be ahead of the ATF.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Do you know?
No, you don't.
That's
You
just
need
the
someone that is actually, I think Brandon, he would try, but he would get eaten alive. Two reasons why. One, you've got to be a politician to do that, right? You have to be able to talk out of all sides of your mouth.
seasoned politician.
But here's the thing that most people, the vast majority of people don't understand. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. Of those three, which one do you think makes up only 3% of that organization?
And explosives, by the way.
And explosives.
People forget that.
It ain't alcohol and tobacco. Let's be honest. The firearm side of things is the very, very, very small part of the ATF.
Our TTB donations to the government, for people who don't know, the Tax and Trade Bureau is where all the taxes go that are collected from alcohol, tobacco, firearm, and explosive sales. We are far and away the small sector of that one. Alcohol is king, and that's the whole reason the ATF exists.
That's what I'm saying. That's why the ATF is going nowhere, not because of the firearm side of things, right? But you're never going to abolish the ATF because alcohol and tobacco.
just the alcohol sector in the United States
unbelievable.
multi-billion-dollar industry.
$1 billion.
Well, and we're
beyond well connected.
And we're staring down the barrel of federally either off the list or legalization on pot. I believe that's coming, right?
Oh, it's
and
in the
when
next
it
5
does,
years, it's going to happen.
That will fall under the purview similar to tobacco and
ATF.
alcohol. There's no way it doesn't.
Absolutely, it will. Yeah. There is a better chance of the NFA going away. Let's just be honest. The ATF ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, let's get rid of the fucking legislation that the
agency enforces rather than the
100%.
agency that then they ain't got shit to enforce, right?
That's it. But yeah, we like to look at the ATF through our rose, glasses of the firearm side, but we're literally, I would say no more than 3% of what that bureau does. Now, if Brandon wants to be the firearm czar representative of the ATF, go for it. Cool.
You know who I want? I'll tell you who I want. I want Mark Lamb. I think Mark Lamb would be a great director of the ATF.
Is that like Kyle Lamb's cousin?
No, Sheriff Lamb in Arizona.
I know who it is. I couldn't resist.
My vote is Chase.
Low hanging fruit.
My vote is Chase, and then it's whiskey and machine guns for everybody.
Hallelujah.
Well, I'm good with
America.
that too.
I don't think Chase wants that job.
I would take that job in a heartbeat. All those directors.
If
Chase would fit
if only for a month, he would take that job for a heartbeat.
Here's the thing. Can you imagine talking about going viral in the greatest TV ever? Just the Senate hearings on Chase being thought about?
Must see
Can
TV.
you imagine the Senate hearings on Chase being named the ATF? Talk about the background. Oh my God, this would be beautiful. So,
Mr. Chase, what do you mean by fourth?
You do this? What do you mean? We've gotten a hold of an Instagram chat that several of you and your. Would you like to explain? No, sir, I would not.
Actually, yes, I would.
Right? Chase would do it. He wouldn't give a shit.
Mr. Chase, what do you mean by fourth trimester cow abortions? Let's talk about that.
Yes.
What's this reference to train cars that you make?
Yeah. That's what you'd like to put us all in. That's why I'm here.
That's it.
I have fun with that.
And what's your problem with double stacked ovens? I just don't understand this,
Yeah.
So, oh God.
All
right. Wow. All right. 2 hours and 15 minutes. It's been pretty good. It went way off the rails of SHOT Show, but it was a fantastic conversation. We still got almost 30 people watching this shit. So, hey.
Who took us off the rails? We need to who took us off the rails? We need to admonish that person. There was somebody with a question.
That damn ginger took us off the rails.
Now there was a question out there that we chased down the 2A road hard. It was my fault we did, but something prompted it. I think it was Scott. I'm gonna blame Scott.
Sure, Scott's as good one to blame as anybody. Him or Wes,
Somebody asked what we'd like to see at a SHOT Show.
It's got to be Scott or Wes. So which one it is.
Hey, we didn't get Chase though on that. We should go to Chase on what he would like to see at a SHOT Show. I don't think Chase said anything. That's a whole different take.
No, I said I would like to walk around, and I enjoy walking around SHOT trying to.
Oh yeah, you did.
To see what I can see that something's new or whatever might catch my attention, because I'm the same way.
But he's already seen a lot of stuff in the last month,
Right.
Yeah. There's not a ton of new stuff. I am going to have to go over and bounce over to the Swarovski booth because they released the new updated Z5 and I want to check it out. That just hit yesterday, actually.
Did it really?
Yep. They went from a 1-inch tube to a 30 millimeter, and they got a new turret system on it. All it's pretty slick. It's basically a more affordable Z6 now.
Oh my God, it is. I mean, it sounds crazy, but you're talking about $1,200. Like,
that's a lot of optic for the money.
That's a lot off for Swarovski. Yeah,
that's a lot of optic for the money. They got real aggressive with that, which the Z5 was already a really good deal, but now that it's a 30 millimeter with that new turret system, that's a smoking deal.
Exactly.
I just want to see what crackhead idea came from Caltech. After seeing that video, I want to know what the heck in crack cocaine were they smoking down in South Florida to make whatever the frick they're making.
It's Keltec. We need them. We need them to be crazy.
Riding that train.
High on cocaine.
Which is even funnier now because we have the murder train here that
You guys do have the murder train.
do. Like,
how many people a year get killed? How many people a year get killed on that thing? By that thing?
I think 2024. It was well over 100 people got smoked by the murder train.
Unreal.
If anybody has got a morbid sense of humor like some of us do, you can go track the murder train. There's literally like bright line trackers like on Instagram and all now that you can keep up with all the unfortunate accidents that partake of the murder train. So we have high speed rail.
John, can you send him your email?
You've got it, Trey. You can send him my GOA email.
Okay. Do I have your? I use your Gmail. So do I have your GOA? I'm sure I do, but I usually
you don't want to send them
the
Virginians or for lovers at AOL.com.
Ginger's
also
at AOL.com.
Also, RTAC, I don't think that gun's 5.7. I'm pretty sure that's 7.62 by 39, which would make it even funnier. We're talking about the Caltech gun.
It's a 30 Luger. You wait.
Oh, or it's that 4.6 cartridge, whatever the frick that thing is.
It's not a 4.6. It may be a Tokarev for real though, like because they'll do something silly.
Ginger, are you not a mod on my channel?
No,
you can't post links and shit. Have we?
No,
really?
I can't do shit.
Stand by. Fully loaded. I'm over on the YouTube side now. Fully loaded reviews.
He doesn't trust me to be one. That's for sure.
Add as moderator. Oh, fuck you! Hell no.
It would be real bad.
Love you too, buddy. God.
Ain't no way in hell. I love you too, but no. I think you should be a mod now, Ginger. You should be able to post.
Cool. Weston, no, it is not. We're not talking about the sub 2000 and 5.7.
Ooh, a sub 2K and 5.7. That could be interesting.
They have one. It just came out.
Do they really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
awesome. That would get me interested in 5.7.
Well, don't worry. You can wait till next year, and Smith & Wesson's version will be out.
Well, that's true too.
Let me see if I can find the Instagram post so I can show
30 people. Super carry. So Clover, I'm going to use a funny word. You've dove in, right? Because people think that's a word and it's not, but you've dove into the world of 30 super carry.
David.
Yeah. What's the next evolution? Do you think that the PCC market would help create more 30 super carry?
I think it would. 30 super carry is banging out of a longer barrel. Oh my God. Especially the 30 super carry is still in its infancy. I get comments.
Oh yeah, it's a couple years old.
Oh, it's dead. It'll be dead in a year. But people
it's
said
be
that
just
2 years
like
ago.
T24 Valkyrie and 327 Federal. It's dead on arrival. Or 7 Backcountry now, the new one.
If High Point comes out with a 30 super PCC, it could sell.
High Point? I've already got one. What are you talking about?
30 in High Point's got a PCC and 30 super.
30 super, yes.
Yeah, there's carbine in it.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about 30 super, so I don't know what's out there. But I'm glad that High Point's done it.
From the thing side, there's not enough sales data behind it to make the investment to build them. That's the problem.
Well, here's the thing: 30 Super is still in development infancy, and a lot of people don't realize that. There will be some things I think in the next year or so, especially when we're talking about carbine length barrels, and you know this because I've talked to you about it, right? About some of the velocities achieved. And stuff.
Yeah,
fucking insane.
Yeah.
So, but that's not commercially available stuff now. But yeah,
absolutely. Ginger, give us a few minutes on 2 minutes for 2A and then fully loaded reviews. What you got going on?
Well, as we talked at the beginning of the show, 2A right now is getting national reciprocity. So our team is there at the Hill, talking to everybody, getting everyone prepped for when President Trump gets in after inauguration to get national reciprocity across the board. So we'll see that hopefully soon. That's going to be our biggest push for the beginning of the year. And then it'll probably be suppressors, SBR. And we'll talk more about that stuff at SHOT Show. For fully loaded reviews, we just launched the Taurus GX4 carry video. That's after launching the Taurus GX2 video. And then we'll have a GX4 versus GX2 comparison video coming by the end of the week. And then a new product launch next Wednesday from company. So keep an eye out. Stand by for the standby for those.
Stand by for the standby. Standby. Chase, I know all of your stuff's already been shipped out. You got some other small stuff you got to ship out eventually, but your booth has been sent out. For the next couple weeks prior to SHOT, what's it like from the industry side getting ready for SHOT? Is it like a lot of but small stuff? Are you guys trying to like rest up, or like is it still hectic or what?
It's small. I mean, we're still doing our, it's still day-to-day work for us, but I mean, you're trying to get stuff prepared to not be there for the better part, over a week. We've still got, like, I just got back from a show.
Yep.
Keith's leaving early next week to go to a show, and then we have SHOT, and then immediately after SHOT, I have another show.
And then Great American.
Yeah, and then I have another buy group show. I mean, it's back this time of year. People don't realize, like, the first couple months of the year is pretty brutal on the industry.
Yeah.
But that's all you can do, man. I got my notification that Venetian got all our stuff in the warehouse yesterday, so it's ready to get loaded in.
That's good. That's good. Speaking of notifications, did I get anything from my guy?
I did not, so probably not.
No, hasn't even seen it yet. So, okay, we'll find out, won't we?
Thanks.
Yeah, we'll see you soon, as well. Clove, what you got going on? Next week, we're gonna not talk maybe products. We're gonna talk about prep and things that we are personally do to get ready or looking forward to do at SHOT.
Caffeine, nicotine, singles.
Maybe.
Yeah, you gotta make sure you have enough dollar bills in our pockets.
$2 bills.
Chase knows I got your nicotine covered, homie.
Yeah, nicotine
and
covered.
You better have mine too.
Yours covered too.
Okay.
Only 420 tins of the shit.
I know, man. I don't know what you're gonna do. Blueberry, definitely need some wintergreen, and there was another one, that grape. I think those are the three that I asked for. Is that right?
Blueberry, blueberry, wintergreen,
blueberry, grape, and then maybe some wintergreen, maybe just cause.
Yeah.
Now you said there's also a weird one. Was that pina colada or something like that? Shit. You said there was a weird one that mango. Yeah. I might have to try some of that too.
Mango bango, baby.
Mango bango.
Yeah, I'm going to be the stash.
Yeah, you are. You can be the dope man. Clove, what's you got going on?
Nothing.
What do you want to close out with?
I can't think of much or nothing. I mean, we've got, when are we going to do the Ghost and Clover?
This coming Sunday at 8 Central.
Okay. There you go.
We have a couple announcements for SHOT Show through the Ghost and Clover. One of them is in this room. But yeah, we're gonna have a couple things that we're gonna be doing with the Ghost and Clover throughout SHOT. So yeah, Sunday night at 8 Central, we'll be going.
And we might can talk a little more product too, since we
can do that for sure.
A lot of that tonight. So unfortunately, I got derailed into. I mean, 2A. It's always good to derail into 2A.
Always good. Yeah, I'd much rather have a good, solid 2A conversation because they don't happen as often as they need to.
Yeah, that was super organic. It seemed so. I enjoyed tonight. From the, it's not often we get good, solid 2A with a lot of good discussion. And I mean, maybe there's folks out there that were listening that can take some of that to heart. Whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We'll see you guys Sunday for the Ghost and Clover special edition. and a couple of big announcements. We'll be back here on the Bat Channel, same Bat time next Tuesday night for another Armed Citizen podcast as well. Go check out the Gun Owners of America. Activate yourself. Activate someone else, as John likes to say. Activate inside that funnel. And you can check out Fully Loaded reviews as well. Go check out EAA. All the cool guns that EAA is going to be having at SHOT. And then go check out CloverTac over at his empire over there, that he is now a music producer. So yeah, it is what it is. He's going to have 1,100 different channels, and he's trying to take over the fucking world. We're just trying to sit here and just be here every day and be a great D-list celebrity. So if we're lucky to be a D-list, but we're just here having a good time. We will see everyone next week. Get to the range. Be more proficient with your firearms. I say this every week, but now it rings even more true. Stay in tune what's going on with your local, state, and federal with all two-way stuff. More importantly, just enjoy your freedoms of being American, one of which is to keep and bear arms. We'll see you next week. Semper Fi.